Now I swear I've got it all set up properly, so I don't think we're going to have any trouble. Hi everyone, I'm Beej. Welcome to the chat. This is the Loading Ready Run Video Entertainment Network, and you are watching a bonus stream that's all about me talking about last season of anime. Not the last season that we're ever going to have. No, that's not what's going on. This is Beej's Anime Roundup. We're talking about 2024 autumn, and the stuff that I watched and the stuff that I didn't. We're not going to talk about the stuff that I didn't watch, actually. But all the things we are going to talk about are your fault because of the Patreon. Patreon.com/loadingreadyrun is what keeps the light on here. I guess there's three lights in this room. So it's 1, 2, 3. And you are paying for the electricity bills and all the other things that go on over here. We appreciate that you are a part of that process. So go to patreon.com/loadingreadyrun and renew if you have not done it. Feel free to do that. But you can also support us on YouTube at youtube.com/loadingreadyrun. We have a lot of different channels. I believe you can support any of the channels now if you want to become a YouTube member. But you can also go to the store at loadingreadyrun.com, and buy merchandise. And that's a thing I appreciate when people do that as well, since I am the one who has to look after our merch. It also keeps me more honest. I do have to go order some more stuff, but I also know that we have more stuff that's supposed to come in and hit up onto the website. I'm having a look at my whatevers. Oh, right, but we're also streaming this live on Twitch because I can see all you guys in the chat. And twitch.tv/loadingreadyrun is our streaming channel, and you can back us with subs and bits. In fact, if you're hearing that notification in the background and seeing it up in the corner, people are subscribing and giving bits to enjoy today's podcast. It is essentially like a podcast, isn't it? All right, here on the pod. God, I got my tea. Fittingly, it's my fridge tea, and it's Irish breakfast, just the thing you need for anime. I've also got transparent ginger ale. Looking forward to having some of that, maybe in a bit. And I also thought, well, what would be better to go with the ginger ale than transparent potato chips? We just got our Tokyo treat, and I forget who it is who gives us the Tokyo treat, but thank you so much. And I have wasabi seaweed chips to eat. We're gonna try not to make this into a mukbang. I'm gonna try not to eat directly into the microphone. We'll do one good one. Damn. Oh my god. Yep, they don't screw around when they say wasabi. That's good. I thought it'd be more of like the Kit Kat wasabis. I should also mention, if you want to support us in other ways, always feel free to ask in our Discord, discord.gg/LRR. There are some people who give via PayPal. I don't think we have any other things set up yet, but maybe we should. If there are ways you would prefer to support us, that you're like, man, I really like to do it by this for this other whatever, send me a toot on Mastodon, because we're on Mastodon as well. We're also on Blue Sky. You can toot the main account at loadingreadyrun at kind.social, kind.social/loadingreadyrun, kind.social. And you can go to Blue Sky and you can find Loading Ready Run on there as well. You can also get me on, I'm kind.social/Beej. I don't think I did Tux Beej. Yeah, I think I just did Beej because I'm like, I can have Beej, so why not just have Beej on kind.social. That is enough of the whatevers. Let's get to the game. And the game today is using a different mouse. So many different screens to look at. It's always a very awkward thing for me. I'm going to drink some more. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm going to try not to touch the mic a whole bunch. If I cut in and out, if you're noticing that something weird about me talking and it's like, oh, you're not maintaining your volume or something, by all means to say so in chat. But otherwise, I'm going to keep the headphones on just so that I know that I maintain a consistent volume. It's a new year. Let's talk about what happened last year. Go Okunen Button Part 2. Botan. I didn't watch this because I have no idea what this is. It looks terrifying. Moving on. It is psychological, right? Moving on. Amagami-san chi no enmusubi. I don't remember even talking about this. This definitely seems like this was a harem thing. The farmer's daughters. The farmer's like, don't fuck my daughters. You're like, I guess I won't. And except it's happening at a shrine. So whatever. It's a miraculous rom-com. I didn't watch it. I have no idea. Oh, it's supposedly a good one of those, Pat. It might be. I chose not to watch it that last season. Ao no Exorcist, Yuki no Hate Hen, Hate Hen, probably, maybe, who knows. I've never watched Blue Exorcist, so didn't watch that. Ao no Miburo, I did not watch that either. There's gonna be a lot here. This might be a fast show because there's a lot that I did not take part in. Arifureta Shokugyo de Sekai Saikyo, 3rd season. Bunny girl, big tits. I mean, this is the thing about this website, right? Is that because of how this works here on antichart.net, which is where I'm going through this, it'll look different to you. I'm zooming it in so it's easier to see what's going on. But it is a problem that it cuts off part of the image, so you basically just end up seeing only like 2/3 of what's going on. And that's interesting too, to be like, oh, can I make a decision on whether I want to watch a show or not based on 2/3 of the key art? Sometimes I do. Bleach Sennen Kessen Hen Sokuko Sokoku, not Kuko. Sokoku Tan. Nope, didn't watch that. Didn't watch Blue Lock versus U20 Japan. Chikyu no Undo ni Tsuite. Okay, so what I found out is this is supposed to be about Ptolemy, and this is like based on a true story, right? This is supposed to be about how going against the church and being like, no, we orbit the sun, the universe, like the solar system, like doesn't all start with the Earth, right? Is it Copernicus? Sure, that must be who it is. Thank you. I think you might be right. In any case, I didn't watch it. I did when I found out about it later. I was like, oh, that actually does sound interesting, and maybe I should watch it. It is on Netflix apparently. But I'm just I'm not. There were other things to watch, and not a ton of them. And I wasn't really. I even dropped stuff that I watched this season just because I was like, this isn't really lighting my fire the way I thought it would. Good arms. Dun-dun-dun! In my maybe watching. I have not started watching it yet. I don't know if I will or not. I'm hemming and hawing about it. I have heard it is good from many people. I'm sure at some point I will sit down and watch it. I just added Dead Demons Destruction to my list as well. I think the reason, Doodles actually kind of mentions here, the violence was unnerving for me. And I'm like, yeah, that is what I've heard as well. Is that it is quite violent, and I'm just like, I don't know if I'll be able to deal with it or not. It feels like the kind of thing I should probably give a 2 or 3 episode test to. We'll see. That's I think why I'm hemming and hawing a lot. But I have had, even Corey has told me, she's like, it's good, and I'm like, I bet it is. It just might not be what I can come at. So we'll see if that ever happens. It didn't happen last month or last quarter. Dragon Ball Daima, didn't watch that. They suddenly turned Smalldude to do a conspiracy. Huh. Well, I don't care. Haigakura. I don't remember reading about this, and I don't think reading it now, I'm just like, I don't think I do want to watch it, so we'll move on. Hoshifuru o Koku no Nina. Nope, not interested in this one either. Kawashiki Gaisha, Maji Lumiere. I don't know why, but like, whenever I hear like that, like Kabushiki Gaisha, Whenever I hear anything that's like, "Oh, this is the name of this company," and you hear those words, it's like GmbH for me. That it's kind of like, oh, it's one of those cool, like when we say Inc. or Limited or like that kind of thing. That's that it's not as interesting to me when it's ours, but when it's like other countries, I love it. I love it so much because it's just like, oh, what does that mean? Why do they have this weird way of saying it? So I liked this. Heather and I both watched this together because I was like, hey, magical girl thing. My problem with it is the it's all Magitech, but they're fighting something that's clearly like this weird. They're fighting like a weird entity that has no like the thing about like magical girl series more often than not is that they all tend to coalesce around a main villain, and then you defeat a main villain. This doesn't. It doesn't ever seem to come around like, oh, there's a main villain, unless the villain is man. I believe there is a second cour coming of this as well. It's interesting, and I mean, I do like the take. I do like the idea of that. Oh, we have all these private businesses that are operating with these magical girls and doing whatever, but I'm just kind of like, even if the police didn't have their own arm of magical girls, because these are environmental disasters, the things that they're fighting are like the Kai are essentially kind of quantified as an environmental disaster, as like a biological infection. Thank you, large toad. You'd think that the fire department or some other emergency services department, or there would be a governmental emergency services department that would have been what got founded to be like, we are forming a task force to fight these things on behalf of the public good, as opposed to having private fire departments, because we did evolve beyond that as societies in a lot of places, right? Where it's like, you don't have a private fire department to fight your fires. And so in this case, I'm like, if this is a big enough problem that the entire city of Tokyo is undergoing this, and basically maybe everywhere in Japan is undergoing this kind of problem, there would be a governmental agency like formed to take care of it. But I think it might be one of these. I think the idea might be that because the public service side of it couldn't get formed fast enough, that you'd have a bunch of little companies popping up to say, oh, I can fight this for you, I can fight this for you. And then government's like, oh, good, we don't have to make this a problem for our tax base. I'm just like, but this is a universal good. And you'd think that the government would be like a little more involved in that. And you don't even hear much about whether the government like licenses businesses to be operating and doing this stuff in the first place. It's just like, oh, you have a business idea to run magical girl thing? We'll stamp, we can give you that, whatever, who cares? If there's a lot and that's the thing about this is I'm like, it's too much of a public service for me to feel like it makes sense that you would have like startup culture and like all these other things. I'd be like, maybe you would have that in terms of because these guys are also like, we're developers of this technology as well, that you would have private companies that are like into doing that. It's like, we develop these things and then we have to sell them to the government so the government can go ahead and use them. I kind of assumed that would be what was going on more than anything else, but this is still fun. And I liked it, and I'll probably watch the second cour. But yeah, times when I sit down and watch this, there's a lot of this comes up for me where I'm like, I don't buy the storytelling in this, or like the world building in this. The storytelling is good. The world building bugs me because I feel like it's missing some crucial things. Because I would feel like, oh, well, then we should have more. If this is kind of the way that this goes for society, then wouldn't all of the other like public safety services also be privatized as well? And should we be seeing we should be seeing stuff about that? And then I get caught up in the whole thing about, well, if this is just the author's worldview, that they're like, oh, I want to do a startup about doing this kind of thing, and it would just be better if startups just fought fires. And I'm like, sure, I guess that's that's the thing about Sailor Moon that bugs me too, and a lot of other like magical girls series where it's like there is a huge public threat, and then out of nowhere, the thing that solves that public threat shows up, but because it's dependent upon, I mean, this is superhero stuff too, right? Dependent upon secret identities and things along that line, that the government can't get involved because the superheroes at the center of it aren't going to be sharing their identities with the government, and that's kind of terrible. So It's yeah, because you can't trust the government always either anyway. So yeah, but it's that thing where I'm like, God, Sailor Moon like saved the Earth, saved the whole freaking universe, the whole cosmos, and as being part of doing that thing, you don't get anything out of it. Like, you get to save the whole universe, right? But it's like, what if we need you on standby to fight another threat? It's like, well, that's fine. We'll just send you to work. It feels like it's Buffy the Vampire Slayer, right? It's like, there's vampires out there doing things. Like, yeah, and we don't give you any support at all. Once you're out of high school, like, it's a good thing your mom's here taking care of you and stuff, because all through high school, at least that's a going thing for you. We're not going to give you any support, any money, any whatever for the fact that your grades are going to go to shit because you're fighting vampires. And this is that same kind of idea where it's just like, yeah, no, you fuck it, you're on your own. You're doing a public service, you're helping people, but we don't have funds or anything to help look after you. We're not going to do anything good for you. And just like, yeah, this, I don't like it. We'll move on. Kagaku Boken Survival I am not watching that. That is still ongoing, apparently. Kamiyarabi God.app Season 2. I didn't watch the first one. Kamanohashi Ron no Kindan Suri second season. We watched the first one, and when we were done, we dropped it. This is the inspiration behind the Sherlock Holmes fucked a dog crap shot, in fact. Kekkon surute honto desu ka? We watched this. It clearly is one cour for a reason. Some things I think had to be rethought and reimagined in a bit of a way. Not totally, but so this is by the same author, like the same mangaka who did The World God Only Knows, and a bit of a departure from that, but I think also because that was a long-running series too, and this had some legs to be a long-running series. And I mean, you literally build it into the title, right? 365 Days to the Wedding. That's, I believe, the English subtitle of the Japanese manga that they made into the actual title of the show. I liked this a lot. Like, it was very gentle and fun. As Rather Large Toad puts it, was cute. But they both need therapy. And it's like, yeah, I think that the idea behind these kind of manga and these kind of anime that have been coming out the last little while, I just see a correlation between that and the falling birth rate in Japan. Just because it's like, oh, do you think you're real fucking awkward? Then you can still get married. And yeah, but that doesn't, I mean, what's holding you back is that you feel like I'd rather just have my life to myself because it's easier than interacting with other people. That's fair too. This is cute in the fact that it's like they don't know how to interact with other people. They rather just, it seems like they just want to kind of live their own lives because they don't want to bother anybody else, but they also don't want to bother themselves to learn how to interact with other people. And if this is like, happening 10 years later in their lives, they might have both been turning into kind of the people who are like, well, it's never going to happen for me, so fuck everybody. And you get really bitter about it. But because they're young enough, you can be, oh, well, we can learn that we can like each other ultimately, and that it's okay to like another person. Or if you want to look at it as a star-crossed lovers, it's like the two of you were going to end up with each other because you both needed the kind of push to interact with somebody else. And it doesn't it doesn't hurt that both of you are actually quite attractive. So that's good too. But it's real nice. I like the manga better because we spend more time in Aso as well. There's a whole piece of the manga where she runs out on him, not really on him, but on everything. She's just like, and she just gets on a train and she goes out to see his folks, her in-laws. They're not married yet, but the thing is still maintaining. And she's just like, I need to be out here and thinking about things other than this fake wedding that we're currently in, and also my mom and my whole family situation. I don't want to think about that anymore. The mom takes a much more heavy influence in the manga, in the later part of the manga. and she just like, I got to get out of here, and so she just goes to Aso because she's like, that's the only other people she knows really, is that it's his parents, his whole family, and she goes out there and just works on the farm for a little bit, like for like a week or whatever, and he's panicking because he's like, oh my god, she ran out, and that might be my fault. Wait, no, I don't think it is my fault, but it could be. But she went to see my parents, and that's weird. And there's a whole bunch more that comes out of that, that she decided that was going to be her safe haven to run to, because she does feel like maybe this is the place that we belong, is out here instead. And yeah, it's fun. It's nice, and there's more. So yeah, as Viowaf says, if this is complete, hopefully get something like Horimiya's piece. Yeah, the anime is not complete. The anime gives you like, and yes, into the future we will ride, and the good things will happen, and they sum up everything. Also, it's funny because it's not Alaska in the manga; it's Irkutsk in Russia, so that got changed for good reason. This was good though; I liked it. And I think it's actually I think it is the good kind of thing that gets you into reading the manga if you want to read the manga. This doesn't end with a wedding. The anime doesn't end with a wedding. If they're going to do another core of it, there's probably more lessons there's more to do. But it's very clear that from the 12th episode that they're kind of like, and we're done! And that's fine. Kimi wa Meido-sama, you are Ms. Servant, is how they're translating it in English, with a period at the end as well. I watched episode 3, and I was like, okay, I have it waiting for me, but it's like I watched till episode 3, and it was like, I have seen the adaptation, and yeah, it seems to work. But I'm largely not interested in watching more of it, and because I was so far ahead in the manga to a certain point where I decided to drop it, I was like, I don't need to watch more of this, so I think I'm dropping it. So it's kind of like Nokotan for me right now, my dear friend Nokotan, that I'm like, I have it waiting, I could watch more of it, I have not feel compelled to do so, and yeah, I think it might be one of those things that I'll just end up not finishing. And that's okay, because I didn't. Kinoko Inu, I dropped this as well. I thought this is going to be cuter off the top than it is, because it's more complicated off the top. And because it is about, this author losing his dog. The problem is that like Kinoko Inu, who he names here, this whole thing about he started drawing where he wasn't supposed to draw, ate all the because it kind of acts like a bit like a toddler, but a bit like a human, but a bit like a a bit like a person, a bit like a dog, and is very like, I'm here to help you get over your loss, and you are not getting over your loss. I'm just going to kind of keep pushing you on this, and I don't know. It's like his playful attitude is hard to hate, and I'm like, yeah, but it's also hard to be interested in it. I felt. This whole thing about a slightly mysterious and heartwarming animation depicts the fine days of Hotaru and everyone together with Kinoko Inu, and I'm just like, but it didn't draw me in the way that I thought. I kind of was hoping that it would draw me in, and I was like, no, this dog creature is not that interesting and not cute enough. Like, it's cute, but it's not cute in action, where I was like, I can deal with the fact that this creature is like that. If you're so much like a person, you're very selfish, which is more like being a pet, right? Pets are very much about like, I want things for me. I care about you too, but I want things for me. And I'm like, but if you're more like a person, sometimes you would also realize, I have to do other, I have to think about this other person. I have to kind of I have to be a little nicer about stuff. And it's like, no, a dog can just be all about, I'm a dog, take me for a walk. And that's what it does. Is it's like, you're sad about your old dog? Fuck you. I'm burning all your stuff that belongs to your old dog. I'm your dog now, bitch. It's like, yeah, there's moments like that where I'm like, tough love? Is that what we're prescribing here? I don't know what's going on. I dropped it. Love Live Superstar, 3rd season. Don't watch Love Live. Mahotsukai ni narenakatta onna no ko no hanashi. We did not watch this. Mao 2099, didn't watch this either. Mao-sama Retry, did not Did not watch that. Mecha Ude TV, a new anime project from Mecha Ude, is a full-fledged anime series. Cool. Didn't watch that. MF Go second season. Didn't watch the first one. Murder Mystery of the Dead. Did not watch that one. Don't even remember reading about it when we were doing the review, but I think maybe I wouldn't have watched it anyway. Zombies and a zombie pandemic and that kind of thing. I'm just like, all right. I know we're going fast, but hey, I did not watch a lot of stuff this season. Nagaki no Bore wa Intai Shitai. Doesn't seem familiar. Make a Vow, Treasure Hunter, Strongest Heroes, First Quest, not cut out for it. Still a leader. Wants to retire early. I didn't watch it. I mean, there's more than just one guy in it. That's another guy, I guess. But yeah, not interested really, so I moved on. Nanatsu no Taizai Mokushiroku no Yonkishi second season. Didn't watch the first one. Ah, yes, Natsume Yujin Choshichi. So, I am really excited for this because I am really excited for new Natsume all the time. It's funny because Heather and I are lost. We don't know where we are with Natsume because I think when we were watching it previously, the system I was watching it through, it crashed and lost our place. And then a few weeks went by and then we didn't know where we were. And then I was like, well, we'll catch up to it later. And so when I rebuilt everything and kind of got it going again, I was like, shit, I don't know where we are. It's like, well, we'll come back and we'll figure it out later. And then I think we missed an entire season of it, another season of it. And then I was like, okay, I don't know where we are now. And like, it could be fourth season, could be fifth season. And then we both realized we don't actually know when, like we don't know where we are. So why don't we just start again? Which has been great because it's definitely helped me sleep. This is a very relaxing show. And so we have just started rewatching it from the very first episode. We'll watch it in sequence and it'll be fun. And maybe we'll actually get to watch the movies and stuff too. So I'm very excited for this. And every so often it's like I watching it on the thing, and then I look over and look at my life-size Nyanko Sensei that I have, that we have on our shelf. That I'm like, yes, this is good. That I'm glad we picked that up when we did. I like having this thing, this representation. I like having one that's also like the right size. I was like, yes, this is all very good. One of those UFO catcher stores that you can go to in Japan, in Akihabara, where it's people have won stuff out of the machines, and then they will go sell it to a place so that you can just go buy the damn thing. I mean, I think we spent like $60 or $70 on it. And I was like, it's fine. I want one. So let's just spend the money. I'm looking forward to this. Negapa's the Angler. We did not watch. I mean, this is the kind of thing where I would assume that I might. Whenever I see sports on something, I'm like, well, is this competitive fishing? Because it sounds like he's just enthusiasts for fishing, right? And I'm like, yeah. The starting with the only have 2 years left to live, I think, is maybe a thing where I was like, I don't think I'm going to be interested in the drama of it. Did not watch it, so don't know. One Piece, Gyojin Tohen, condensed and remastered re-airing of the Fishman Island saga. Oh, of these ones specifically. Cool. Did not watch this. Oi! Tonbo! Second season. Did not watch this. A lot of golf anime recently, huh? Party kara tsuiho sareta sono chiyushi jitsu wa saikyo ni tsuki. Didn't watch that either. Puniru wa kawaii slime. Didn't watch that. Raisei wa tanin ga ii. This, I think I read like the first 2 or 3 chapters of and realized I'm like, I don't think this is going to be for me. It just is like, she's the granddaughter of of the guy who leads one Yakuza group. He is the grandson of the person that leads another Yakuza group. I will get them married. Oh, they seem very nice. Actually, turns out this dude's not very nice. She's also not very nice, I think, either. And I'm just like, I don't think I'm that. I don't think I'm that interested in this. Wow, goddamn! I'm just reading about people talking about Apunidu, and I'm just like, that's wow. It's okay. We're just gonna move on. But yeah, I stopped reading it, and that's why I didn't watch it. Stopped reading it fast and didn't watch it. This I'm excited by, and if we get more of this, and I hope that we do, this has been a lot of fun. I even just boosted on Mastodon a post that somebody had made about. They had said, God save us from the people who write fan fiction that has absolutely no relation to like people who think they know the characters, but all they know about the characters is the fan fiction they've been reading about the characters, and therefore then they write more fan fiction that thinks that those characters act a certain way because that's how that works, and that and then they wrote a thing that was it was called they wrote a post on their own blog called Akane Tendo Baudrillard's Tsundere. And I just finished reading it before coming here. It's not terribly long, and I was like, this is really good. Like it from the point of view of, thank you, Talon Lee wrote that. God spare me from people half my age trying to lecture me about Ranma 1/2 fanfiction based on their half remembered watching of the anime. And then somebody responded with, we used to make bets on how rich a person was based on whether or not how they wrote about any anime was based on the anime or the manga, because whether you could afford to get all the anime and therefore watch it, because we didn't have streaming services back then, right? You had to actually go buy the thing. And so yeah, this is by and large the post that Talon Lee made. Talon Lee? I'll say Talon Lee. Let's try that. The post that they made on their blog is really good because it talks about how, like, let's talk about Akane Tendo. Do you know who this is? And they show a picture from the manga. It's like, this is Akane Tendo. You probably don't know Akane Tendo, or maybe you do, but you might not. And then they describe that Akane Tendo, and then they put it in the anime, and they're like, this is Akane Tendo, but it isn't, because this character is like this. And then they talked about it, and they get into this point about hyperreality, where it's like, there's a difference between things being fictional and not real. And I was like, oh yeah, I didn't take philosophy. Fill me in. And I'm like, okay, I'll have to remember this. This is very interesting. And I think it's very Psych 101 from my perspective, because I don't know enough about it. But it's the idea that if you create a character, and they have experiences and they have a personality, and their personality can also be shaped by those experiences as well. And it is a very well realized. It doesn't even have to be that well realized a character, but the more you spell out this character, the more you get a picture of who they are as how they would be as a person if they were like real life person, right? But as a fictional person, that character follows a set of rules. Otherwise, maybe it would be less relatable. But somebody experiencing how that person is, that's like, it's like a person can be a certain way, and that could be the real self. But someone experiencing how a person is, all they're getting is like one view, right? They're getting one. I had somebody relate this to me one time, where it's like they took religion as an example. It's like if you had a statue on a hill. One religion might look at that statue. They're standing on one side of the hill, and they're like, I see, our God is like that, and it is shaped like this. And then somebody standing on the other side is like, our God is like this, and it's shaped like this. And then they start fighting with each other, because they're like, no, our God is this. And they're like, no, our God is that. And they don't realize that if you stand in a different place on a different side of the hill and you look at that same statue, oh, I see, it's still all the same statue, but you're just looking at it from different perspectives, and so therefore it looks different, right? This is very facile kind of thing. But this idea of Akane Tendo, as realized in the manga, as written by Rumiko Takahashi, is X type of character. Akane Tendo, as realized through an anime that has to try to make a certain type of story work out of making it recognizable from what comes out of the manga, but also has directors and writers involved who are like, well, what are we going to do to make this saleable or whatever? Oh, we have to eliminate a lot of subtext, or we have to eliminate a lot of these other things, or the story is actually really about this. And therefore, Akane Tendo becomes a slightly different type of character because you don't get more context or subtext or whatever. And then you get like the dubbers having to be like, well, this character's written like this, and we'll just do this because it's good. And now you have Akane Tendo is viewed by multiple different in multiple different ways. And then you have people who write about Akane Tendo based on their own ideas about how this character should work or how that acts, but you have your own axe to grind because you're like, I want Ranma to get together with Shampoo, so Akane's awful. I'm going to make her awful in my fics. And then you have people who read those fics and they use those fics as a means of instructing how they're going to write their Ranma fanfic because they've read a couple chapters of the manga or they've watched a bit of the anime and da-da-da-da-da. And so all of a sudden it's like, oh, Akane Tendo is a representation of a hyper-reality because she is a simulacrum. Like how she is seen, see, people that may be seeing these simulacrums, they're not actually seeing the real person. But then again, what if and I see the word fanon come up in here. Thank you, Viawaf. And it's like, what if the fanon is actually a more interesting read or a more accurate read? Like, what if the idea is that Akane Tendo is gay and doesn't like this idea of I have to marry this man? And that sucks. But then with Ranma-chan, that she's like, oh, well, that's more relatable to me. That this boy also lives as a girl sometimes. And I'm more interested in her as a girl because that's more relatable to me. And you're like, oh, was any of that in the original manga? Maybe, maybe not. I didn't read the original manga. I can't tell you for sure. And I'm like, oh, I like that. Yeah, the fans' perspective and the fan retellings and the way people are like, oh, but this ship is kind of the thing that we assume is correct. And I'm like, oh, right, yeah. That means that however anybody wants to look at just the picture they get. You're looking at me on a screen right now. I'm a certain type of person to you. And I was just like, this is a really good write-up on this kind of situation where you have a character that can be many different things depending on how you see them doing something. Are you actually getting the real representation of who this person is because you've seen them through? And it's like all you can do is take in as much as you can of somebody and try to make an idea of what it is that they're like, right? So anyway, all of that to say that this anime adaptation has been really good, and I really enjoy it. And I have no idea. I think it loses a lot of, like, it casts off an awful lot of stuff that I kind of half remember from watching the original anime. And I think from when I read the original manga, I didn't read a lot of it. Like, I think I caught maybe like a volume or two, and that's about it. And this thing is incredibly long, right? And I'm like, things that I understand about what Ranma 1/2 is, I feel like this is trying to distill it down to its essence so that you can take it in. Because I, at no point in watching this am I like, oh, Akane's a jerk, right? At no point is that true to me, because I'm like, no, she's dealing with a lot. And it's obvious to me from looking at everything. I'm like, right, this is, they're trying to keep the focus on Ranma and Akane. Do not forget that this is a fraught problem, and Ranma not talking about stuff, Ranma not communicating about stuff, but then trying to be like showing that he has some tender relationship to Akane, even though he's been shitty to her, and then Akane being like, oh, okay, well, he does have those moments, which is nice, And that's the kind of thing that could make me fall for him if he wasn't just such an oblivious dick the rest of the time. Like, he won't be clear about stuff because he doesn't know how to be clear about stuff. He's been raised in the forest by his dad, practically, right? It's like all I ever did was fight shit. And so that's all I ever had to be and all I ever had to worry about. So I don't know how to talk to or interact with people. And it's like, sure. All this, again, to say, this was a lot of fun. I liked it. I hope we get more of it because it was just kind of nice to sit down and watch it. And kind of like Urusei Yatsura in that same way of the remake of it. I've been really into the remake of it. And it just has been a lot of fun to... It tells me that it's like there are these stories that were very popular from the 1990s. It's not because, oh, that's what there was. It's like these things get remakes because they are cultural touchstones. Like Lupin just keeps getting new series all the time because it is good and interesting and entertaining. Like, people really do like this for those reasons, and that's okay. And I think the fact that this is just like, we're going to adapt this thing now feels more like we have the money, we have the ability, and that we have the sensibility as well to be able to adapt something closer or a more a focused or a better distillation of the product that was originally made. But anyway, we'll move on. ReZero Kara Hajimeru Isekai Seikatsu 3rd season. And sometimes people just keep making stuff. I haven't watched ReZero, so I don't know anything about this. And we move on. Rekishi ni nokoru akujo ni naruzo. Okay, so we have a villainous thing here. Of course we do. This is this has an actual English name, and I've completely forgotten it. I just know the word villainous shows up in it. This is this takes longer to get going than I like, and then it ends, and I'm like, boy, I don't know how to feel. I mean, it's a light novel. Of course it is. Holy shit. I don't know how I feel about the fact that it took longer to get going. I liked it. I liked the anime. Heather liked the anime. This kind of thing is very cute. That she's like, oh, because this is the saint, right? And we have some explorations of what those things mean, to be a villainous and to be the saint. Yes, the prince named Duke, that, you're right, Pat, that sucks. Like, don't call this guy Duke. Prince Duke of Viscount, you know. Let's not make this complicated at all. Some very two-dimensional characters in this. Some ways of looking at the problem of being a saint. It briefly has a moment of, well, if I can just learn how to cast level 82 magic, then that'll be good. Oh, but maybe I can study and I can do level 92 magic instead of the 82. I can cast like level 93 magic or 91 magic. But if I do that, then the person who knows how to catch like level 79 magic. Like, there's brief hints of that, and I'm like, oh, good, you did that, but you did it for no good reason. You just gave it a big fucking number, which is real stupid. I've gotten to a point where if I'm watching a show and they're like, oh yes, this person has stats, I'm like, we're done. I'm like, stop it. It's so even in series where it's not taking place in the game, it's just a fucking isekai that you go somewhere else and it's like, and I bring up a status menu and I can see that, oh, I'm level A, and I'm like, stop it. Like, Frieren does the thing. God damn. Like, this was really good, by the way, okay? But let's talk about a pet peeve of mine, right? Frieren is so good, and I think one of the reasons it's so good is that the first time we see someone talk about levels is very late in the anime. I haven't read the manga yet because I'm trying to enjoy the anime. The thing where it's like, are you a level 2 mage? Well, there's only 3 levels. There's level 1, level 2, and level 3. Are you a level 2 mage? Meaning, have you taken your level 2 exam? That's what that means. It's like, if you want to get classified, you can do that. And Frieren walks in and she's like, I don't know what any of this is. I'm 1,000 years old. It's been 500 years since I've, I haven't interacted with people or whatever. I don't care about this. I have this, and she holds out like a trinket, and people are like, you have an old amulet, like what the fuck? And then some old dude standing there who's like an old mage, he's like, oh, yeah, come with me. and I'm like, yes, that's what I want out of this sword and sorcery stuff, to be like, somebody sees, oh, I see, like these things, they keep, Wolfstrike mentions it, all these ranking systems keep dying out faster than I die. And it's like, yeah, the idea that a thing that's saying you're a level 6 adventurer, you're level A quality, you're an S class, like that kind of stuff, or these are B class monsters you're fighting, and you can't do it because you're a C class, and it's like, okay, I guess we maybe do a bit of that ourselves, where it's like, could you fight a fully grown tiger? Probably not. Could you fight some sort of like other thing that is not that? And that's, yeah, so we'll classify the tiger as S class, and we can do those things. And I'm like, right. We don't have to, it has to be harder than that. But there's a very, I feel like I'm getting mired in my problem here. Frieren does not give a shit about these levels, and it's like, I only have to care about this now because I need people to leave me alone while I'm trying to cross the border to get into this other part of this world, because you've decided that we're going to put up an arbitrary roadblock. Fine, I guess I have to work through this arbitrary roadblock. It makes for a good part of the story, but it's like, I'll just deal with that. I could just decide we could find another way around it, but frankly, it's just going to be simpler for me if I deal with the problem. And I kind of liked the fact that it's like, right, these things are bullshit. We all know they're bullshit. Sometimes that can make for a fun story. Sometimes what that can do is just mire the story in power comparisons of people saying, well, I did this and now I'm level 3001. Well, now I did this, but I'm level 3002. It's like, gasp. And I'm like, it's very much the kind of old trope of two samurai looking at each other, and then they do the steely look in the eye, and the camera goes back and forth, and then they both walk away, and the one person's like, what happened? And it's like, they didn't even draw their swords. And it's like, no, one of them looked in the eyes of the other one and knew that he was a level B and he was only level C. Like, that's, I'm being a little reductive, but that idea of like, that one guy knew that he wasn't going to beat the other guy from just looking in his eyes, and you're like, oh, samurai is so cool. And it's like, right, so how do I take that further? Well, let's assign them letter grades. I think that's kind of just get Kyoto, who just calls it the way I was about to. Frieren is levels in terms of like school progress as opposed to RPG leveling, and I'm like, right. And I think there's that idea of where your grades in school being a way of representing your level of knowledge or your intelligence, like IQ. It's like, oh, right, we have learned over the years that assigning numerical scores or letter scores to something is not the be-all end-all of deciding what a person's worth is. But when you have pockets of society, not, I'm going to say, oh, Japanese society is like this. It's like, no, pockets of every society, school, rely upon that to be able to create a means of looking at a larger group of the population. And yeah, so we're going to wind all this back up. So we'll reel everything back in. We come back to this. I'm like, the big part that lost me was when we were talking about power levels and shit in this, and then it kind of gets abandoned. It comes up kind of like halfway through, and then just kind of gets dropped after we get past that point. And I'm like, that's fine. And this has been fun otherwise, and there's been character changes and stuff, and I'm like, that's good too, because I mean, a story should have some character growth in it. Not everybody has had it much growth, and it still feels like a lot of cookie cutter things going on in this show. And I imagine the novels, if there is more novel to this than just the one novel, I think it's interesting. And if there was another Kura this, I'd love to see what it would be like. If it's not getting another core, that's fine, and therefore I can move on now to the next thing. Rurouni Kenshin Meiji Kenkaku Romantan Kyoto Doran. It's the Kyoto arc. Nice, but I dropped watching this because Kenshin's voice actor is not the same as the original voice actor, and I love the original voice actor. And I'm just like, I can't watch this with a different voice. It's too bad. And it's like, oh, that's all on me. That's very psychological. It's like, yeah, I can't do it. Sayonara Ryusei, konnichiwa, jinsei. Didn't watch that either. Half human, half snake creature looking for a partner. All right. They become friends. Seirei Gensoki 2. Didn't watch this. Just these really, like, sad girls. I blame this guy. He's the reason why all these girls are sad. Shangri-La Frontier second season. Didn't watch the first. I do like all the, hey, let's actually have, like, weird furry characters. That's kind of cool. But moving on. Shin Tennis no Oji-sama U17 World Cup semifinal. These people are all teenagers. Moving on. Sword Art Online Alternative, Gun Gale Online 2. Didn't watch anything to do with any of this. Tensei Kizoku Kante Skill de Nariagaru second season. I decided that I was not going to watch any more of this. I didn't even start the second season. I had an episode waiting and was like, I should totally watch this. And was just like, thought about it a little more, and I'm like, I feel like if I keep watching this, I feel like I'm falling into a trap somehow. So, yeah, just kind of did not feel interested in watching more of what we got. Again, this is this like, I have this amazing appraisal skill, and maybe I can help rebuild my country and whatever. I'm like, the pathway has been set. I can see kind of how it's going to continue along. And while it has been interesting to see, like, this young boy is going to build this team of people around him that are going to have amazing abilities and whatnot, I was like, I'm not really that into that. The one that I did like that does this is not Genius Prince. It's the other one where the guy gets summoned into the kingdom and the king and queen immediately step aside and make him king. And then he starts assembling, through no fault of his own, every girl in the fucking world will eventually marry him because they will all have some sort of thing that will be good. Realist hero, thank you. That's what it is. It's like he has to marry everybody because otherwise it won't work somehow. He has to have so many wives. And I'm just like, why? And he's like, but it's okay because they're not my slaves. These other people are slaves, but we can educate them, and I can make that part of being a slave. And once we have enough education in place, then I can get rid of slavery. And I was like, I guess that's a realist take on it. If you were like, I can't just totally upend this entire thing. But I'm like, oh, it really feels like we can't just abolish this thing. I'm like, it feels, dude, how long do you think you have to live for in order to see that all the way through? I'm like, oh, whatever. So, yeah. Right. He has to marry the one girl, and then everyone else just talks him into marrying them too because polygamy is legal. I'm just like, this has been very... I still like Realist Hero. Like, I'm like, I like this a lot, but yeah. That one, at least, I was like, oh, you're taking a look at a lot of different systems within your country. You already have your position of power. You're looking at a lot of different systems within your country, and that's interesting because I think I just want, like, I wanted the promise of what I thought the home center worker isekai manga was supposed to be, which was, I'm going to teach you guys how to build your own houses, and I'm going to teach you guys how to like the idea of building materials and interesting stuff like that, and we're going to work together to learn about drainage and learn about like how to make a small village and keep your ambitions really low. And I think I'm like 25 chapters in, and he comes back to his town, and it's now a bustling city of thousands of people, and I'm just kind of like, okay, yeah. Shit. Oh, and they have paved streets, or they have cobblestone streets or brick streets or whatever. It's like, shit, they've been busy in the few months you've been gone. They basically bred like rabbits, I guess. And they just turned this into this amazing whatever. I'm like, oh shit, wow, this is a lot. You were just having them build wooden fences like a brief time ago. At least with that one, he's trying to not get married to all the women that are around him. He's literally trying to avoid it all. I think because the goddess is so hot. And she probably wouldn't like it anyway. Moving on. The Idolmaster Shiny Colors second season, didn't watch. Thunderbolt Fantasy Toriken Yuki 4, didn't watch that. Tono to Inu, I didn't get a copy of this to watch, and therefore I didn't watch it, so I didn't watch it. But apparently it's going on. So, yeah. That's still continuing. Tohai Urarate Mahjong Tohai Roku, didn't watch that. Trillion Game, didn't. There's just something about this that looking at this and seeing the name, I'm just like, I think I would hate every part of this. I don't know why. Maybe it's incredibly compelling, but just looking at these three, I'm like, oh, you're the kind of assholes that I'm learning to hate. Like, you're CEOs, aren't you? You're all three of you are all CEOs somehow of the same company, and I dislike all of you intensely. Moving on. Maybe it's really good. What do I know? I feel like this could use a psychological tag. And the comedy tag is nice, but Link got a really more of a drama tag. I would not have ever thought romance would be a thing involved in here or whatever, but Tsuma Shogakuse ni Naru. If my wife became an elementary school student. I thought, in reading the manga, that it was going to be about a guy who comes home one day and realizes that his wife, there's this little girl there now, and like what happened is she's like, I don't know, I woke up this way and now I'm a little girl. And that's going to be real fucking awkward because we're still technically married. And it would be a fun comedy romance thing about this. It's not. He lost his wife 10 years ago. And then this little girl shows up and says, hey, I'm your wife, reincarnated. I can prove it. I'm going to tell you things about our past life together, and you're going to have to believe it. And the problem is, though, she lives in another house. Like, because this just happened to her. Like, she didn't wake up. She wasn't born into this body and has been living this life and being like, I need to get to a point where I can be more, I need to live my 10 years or whatever, and then go find this dude. And no, it's like she wakes up one morning and is now in this little girl's body. This is a lot. Like, this is a very intense kind of idea and kind of show, because it's about, the morals of this in the manga are incredibly interesting. There's points late in the manga where one or the other of the characters ends up talking to a Buddhist monk to talk about the idea of reincarnation and talk about the idea of what happens if a soul got reincarnated into it, and what happens to the original little girl, like that kind of idea. Is she trapped in this body? Is her soul sleeping somewhere? Did it get pushed out? Did she die? And therefore, by having this new life being brought in, how long does this last for? What if Takai goes away at some point? What if in 10 years or whatever it goes away? The rather large toad says the little girl lives in an abusive household. The manga does very well at, and it's abusive and neglectful, which is terrible. It's a single mom kind of situation, and the single mom's not great. She's a piece of shit. The manga goes really good into trying to redeem everybody and trying to give everybody opportunities to get better and heal. Everybody gets a chance to heal because so many broken people in the story, and it goes on for a while. And it is a good manga. Like, it was really compelling to me. Like, I was like, man, I really enjoyed this, but I can't watch it. I watched one episode and I was like, oh, I see how they adapted it. And the second episode has been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And it's just like, I can't. Like, I don't want to relive this. This was a lot. Just in the manga, this was a lot. I don't want to have to go through it again. So if it is if you watch this and you're like, this is compelling. Like, I have no idea how it ended because I didn't go watch the 12th episode. I don't know if it actually sums the whole story up or not and tries to get there in 12 episodes. Maybe they could. Maybe that's also, I keep bringing up the word facile, but maybe that is kind of, maybe it is a facile take on on how it is. So yeah, I was just like, we're not going to watch the rest of this. So I dropped it, and I feel fine about that. I would say go read the manga and see if you like the idea and see how that kind of gets run out. It is long, and it's reasonably slow. It did definitely suck me in because I was like, oh, this is intense. I remember another manga somebody talked about years ago. We're just going to get on a sidetrack. Why not? Oh, it's 3:00. I got to take a break. When we come back, I'm going to talk about Onani Master Kurosawa. If I think I got that title right. We're going to have a 3-minute break. I'll see you guys real soon. And we're back. Okay. So we were talking about Tsuma Shogakusei ni Naru and what kind of a heavy lift it is as a I think this does a really good job at kind of being like, this is not going to be an easy, fun story. There's some baggage here, thanks to one of the covers. I just saw The Devil Risen says, wait, there's a live action version of this? It's like, I guess there is. I was unaware of that. I've been largely unaware of the amount of live action versions of things that have come out of anime and manga I've been watching and reading. But I said, hey, big story, a lot of work, not what you expect when you get into it. And then you're like, oh shit, there's a lot going on here. And I said, when we come back, we would talk about Onani Master Kurosawa. And I hope I have the name right. I know Onani Master is the first 2 words of it. And this was recommended to me, or not directly to me, but recommended on a forum I was reading back when I was in my 20s. That they're like, yeah, you should check this out because holy shit, it's a hell of a read. And I'm like, how? With a title like that, how could it possibly be a hell of a read? And it's a story set in high school about this guy who has built this whole thing up in his head about how good he is at going to the bathroom and jerking off. That how he's like, yes, I have perfected this to an art. And I'm like, I can't read this as anything else. It's just an absolute screwball, stupid comedy thing, right? I'm expecting it to be like a few chapters long. And I'm like, why? Why is this? Why does this even exist? It ends up being an incredible psychological drama. And part of it pivots on the fact that, hi, Cookie Mom, yes, you have come in at the worst time. Part of it pivots on the fact that as human relationships come into play, he meets this girl that's in the same class as him, and they start having conversations and interacting and whatever, and he starts to realize he's like, this girl is actually quite wonderful. It's not like he's been using her as a side dish. That's the terminology. But when it comes out that he's been doing this, it alienates this girl and alienates everybody else from him, and he goes through this just absolute, like, the kind of, like, if you had ever done this in high school, and you can imagine what it would be like to have people find out about that, and just how it would absolutely tear you asunder. And it is, yeah, it's a really hard read psychological drama about this young man's life falling apart because he had built up this idea of himself as like, I'm doing this thing and I'm very good at this. It's not like, it's like, and he's, like, he's a middling, he's kind of just average everything, but it's like, this is the one thing he's going to be really good at because for some fucked up reason. And just watching how it seemed like he was going to be redeemed out of this mindset because of just being able to talk with this girl and that he liked her. And it was clear that she liked him too. And then when everything drops, it's like all that evaporates and it just all goes away. And I'm like, oh, this is hard. This is really, really hard. And the funny thing is that is for everything like I'm saying about what it is about, it's like I don't remember anything visually prurient about it. I don't think there's anything visually lewd. Um, I don't remember any of that anyway. And because I think I read it on a standard manga website. But people who do read it are kind of like, oh yeah, this sounds fucking hilarious, and they like, I am haunted, and I'm like, yeah, it was a lot. So that kind of idea of, oh, this looks like this might be a fun read, and you come out of it and you're like, oh, that's shit. I went through some stuff reading this, and it's, art affects you in different ways, and an art about a teenager jerking off in a high school bathroom can affect you in weird ways. Yeah, Onani Master Kurosawa is not this at all. I should put this in between the things, so it'd be like, it's more like Uzumaki. That's what it's more like. Right. Anyway, let's talk about Uzumaki. I didn't watch it. I wouldn't watch it. There's no way I could. I did hear, I think I remember people talking about how the anime for this, the animation is like, oh, the animation sucks. And then they would post pieces of it, and I'm like, oh, no, it doesn't. The animation is like, it's all black and white, I believe, and it's all very much on purpose. And I'm like, yeah, you only have so much money you can spend on things. But I feel like what I was seeing for clips of it, I'm like, I think it's meant to be kind of that weird and unsettling, and like, oh, that's, the running is not very good, or the animation of somebody moving forward or moving backwards or whatever looks like really poorly handled, or looks like paper on paper, or like that kind of thing. I'm like, yeah, I think it's, oh, they did actually run out of money. Yeah, well, there we go. I only got to see like comparisons of like stuff in like the first couple episodes anyway. So if it just got worse and worse, then that's too bad. They didn't get any budget for episodes past episode 1. They were given a choice between releasing things as is or not releasing it at all. That sucks. Oh, that's too bad. I mean, then you just do like what is it? Kamishibai? What is the thing? The picture shows? The sliding picture shows? Well. That's too bad. That would it's a 4-episode anime adaptation too. Oh no. That sucks. Oh well. It really seemed like it was on purpose to be like really good and then like not great at all. But it's like, is that because it's going to ping pong back and forth, or what are they going to do? But oh well. Yarinaoshi Reijo wa Ryute Heika wo Korakuchu. Jill breaks out of prison. Executed by her fiance, who's a crown prince. Struck by an arrow. Then she went 6 years in the past. I think I watched some other like time traveling things where it's like, oh, we'll go back in time to this pseudo German aristocracy. And it's like, yeah, whatever. I didn't watch it. Yokai Gakko no Sensei Hajimashita. A terrified teacher at Ghoul School, I think is what they're calling this. Names. So, I have not watched a lot of this, even up till now. And, oh god, right, it's getting 24 episodes. I like screwball comedies about yokai because there's so many different yokai, and so shit, sometimes they'll just make new ones, because I like the whole, like, I like it because they'll be like, oh, we're gonna have opportunities to have individual episodes to talk to other characters and give them their own episodes, so you can kind of see what it's like for them to be Rokurokubi, or to be like the Snow Queen, or to be like this cat boy, or to be a Furushiki, Ghost Furushiki. I like those things because, like Sleepy Princess, I think did that really well. Sleepy Princess and the Demon Castle. It always felt like we're gonna have an episode where you're gonna end up meeting somebody new who's a demon of some sort, and she's gonna interact with them in some way that also has to do with sleeping. But we're gonna get to see them and kind of bits of what they're doing. Other shows also do it incredibly well. I can't think of one off the top of the head. I like Doodle saying, it became painfully obvious this entire series is of the everyone reacts to everything by screaming really loud and overreacting school of comedy. And I'm like, yeah, that could, I can believe that. I absolutely can believe that. I haven't watched more of it because I'm still trying to suss out. Like, I like the idea of this teacher is not only just like scared as a human of all these yokai, but that he's completely lost control of his class, and yet somehow he still has some semblance of control in his class because they still let him teach. And I know that he has like a power, and it's incredibly powerful. And I'm like, that's cool. So I'm holding on to it because I'm just going to kind of drop an episode every so often to watch it. But I've largely not really, I haven't been that heavily drawn to it. Like, this is kind of like the Mushroom Dog and the other stuff that I've dropped, where I was just kind of like, this is fine, but there's pieces missing from it that I want. Like, what's some stuff that I have? Freaking Interviews with Monster Girls I really liked, because I felt like, oh, it is what it is, but it's also like, we're gonna spend some time getting to know and world build and character build, so we're gonna really concentrate on that. Like, what was the other one I talked about? Okami, what's her name again? Tsumiki. Ogami Tsumiki's something Nichijou, everyday life, whatever, weird everyday life. She's a wolf girl. It's a new manga that just recently came out. It's super cute. And they're demi-humans as well. I think there might be yokai human. I don't really remember, but mostly all demi-human. And I like that, where we're going to spend a lot of time developing a whole world built around what happens if these people live in that. And I think it's super cute, and it's a lot of fun. Beastars, I think, is a great culmination of that. It's Itagaki Paru, I think, is who the mangaka is, and she really cares about trying to develop a world that, like, how does this world work? And as you are working it out, you start to realize it's like this world, it would be incredibly hard to maintain in this way, which is why there are so many problems, and there's an underbelly, and there's all these other kind of problems. And it's like, yes, Christ, this is a lot. Like, you started with an idea that you could get out in a one shot, and people would be like, that's interesting, but how would that world work? But then you had to write a whole season about it that went on for a while. I'm like, yeah, it is a lot. So, and it's still very good. And I like these kind of shows where it's like, we're going to take a lighthearted look at this, and when they can pivot into, we're going to try to spell it out a little more, so you know a little bit more about what it's like for, like, here's a young person having to be this kind of character, like what a teenage Zashiki Watashi would be like. And it's like, yeah, I like it when you get more character analysis, and I think that's what those shows are built for. Like, these kind of properties are built to do that, to be like, let's explore what somebody would be like if they were this kind of character in this kind of situation. Obviously, they just did this of, you go to the ghoul world, you go to the yokai world, essentially. You're on this island full of yokai. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's complicated. Anyway, moving on to, I did watch it. I will probably watch more of it. I haven't disliked any episodes of it. I haven't disliked any episodes of this, but it has not really, like, been so compelling that I had to keep watching it. So, Travelog asks me, did I catch any of the Chibi Godzilla raids? Again, I did not see any of that, actually. Hamadashi Creative, I did not watch this. God, it just feels like copy-paste heads. Like, I don't... It's like someone said, I want this type of girl, but I want all 5 flavors. That one's got garters. Yeah, it was a very particular flavor. God. Okay, moving on. Hokaga Shonen, After School Boy, Hanako-kun 2. I've heard people like this. I haven't watched it. Hyakusho Kizoku 2. always fun. I really love this, but all it is also doing is just driving into me a thing being like, you got to watch Silver Spoon again. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't think it's been quite long enough for me to watch Silver Spoon again, but I do want to watch Silver Spoon again. So this has been great. I didn't know whether or not the mangaka herself is actually the doing her own voice, and but the longer I watched this, I realized I don't think she is. And then I think in the credits, it's kind of obvious that no, somebody else is reading on her behalf. But it's so fun. Kankin Kuki level 10, I guess. I didn't watch that. Kumarba season 2, didn't watch that. Liera no Uta 3, no, because I don't know anything about Love Live, so I wouldn't have watched it. Marui Kanojo to Zannen Nakarashi second season, I didn't watch that, I don't think, to begin with. Neko no Tensei Shita Oji-san. I think I was reading the manga for this when it was out. I didn't go looking for this, clearly. And sometimes I think these things work better in manga form also. We've talked about how that is, but moving on. Okaimo no Panda, so Shopping Panda, nope. Pochars, nope. Puni Lunez, Puni 2, nope. Shibuya Hachi, Part 2, nope. Sylvanian Families, Freya no Piece of Secret, nope. Freya no Go for Dream, no. 2.5 Jigen no Ririsa. Remember I said that I was maybe going to watch this? Of course, it's still marked as a maybe I'm going to watch this, and I dropped it. I forgot this existed. I hope you enjoyed it if you watched it. Just everyone, it's all fucking Flat Stomach City here. Like, that's, yes. Fairy Tale 100 Years Quest. Nope. Jochum, note. Kami no To, Tower of God second season, nope. I'm going through these fast, I know. The Devil Risen says, Beej, what anime would you recommend if you like the world building and flavor of Beastars? Beastars. To be honest, like, I can't think of another one off the top of my head that has the elements that I think of when I think of Beastars. So I am pretty sure that there's other ones out there. There has to be other ones out there, but all the elements, I'm like, I don't know if like, there's probably some that have that, you know, really intense world building, and has that kind of like, we want to lean into what an alternate world is like. Nothing occurs to me off the top of my head. I know there have been some, and I have my backlog. my list is probably so big, and I'd have to go through my whole list to figure it out. So, Sengoku Yoko Senma Konton Hen. Nope. Didn't watch that. Tasu Ketsu. Nope. Didn't watch that. We're into the movies. 30 made dote da to. Dote da to mahotsukai ni nareru rashi tokubetsu hen. No, because I don't think I watched the television anime. Anyway, Bang Dream, it's Maigo! Haru no Hiramari Mayo Neko. Nope. Bang Dream, it's Maigo! Uta Bokura ni nareru uta, and Film Live. No, did not watch that. Fureru. I mean, it's a coming-of-age film set in present-day Tokyo, centering on childhood friends who find a creature with mysterious powers that pushes them to discover the bonds that tie their three students together. All right, but it's Cloverworks. They usually do pretty good stuff. Not interested, though, really. Like, it sounds interesting, but I'm not that interested, so whatever. And Kamen Rider, yeah, I don't know. It's fine. Ganbatte Ikimashoi. Set up a boat club. It's a movie, I guess, from a novel that might be interesting. I'm not interested myself. Genjitsu no Yohane Sunshine in the Mirror movie. Don't know anything about that. It's Love Live, that's why. Gintama on theater, 2D Kintama Hen. Theatrical cut of the Kintama arc. Part of the 20th anniversary project. Fuck, I'm old. Didn't watch that. Inazuma 11 Aratanaru Eiyu Tachi no Josho. Didn't watch that. Inazuma 11 So Shuhen Densetsu no Kickoff. Didn't watch that. Nintama Rantaro Dokutake Ninja Tai Saikyo no Gunshi. Didn't watch that. Dude looks like Nappa almost. Anyway, Oredake Level Up na Ken Reawakening. Solo leveling movie compilation of the whole. Anyway, move on. Pui Pui Molcar, the movie. Mole Max. Didn't watch that. Lord of the Rings. Rohan no Tatakai. I do not remember this ever coming up. Did this get made? Rather, was this up as it's from a novel? Wait, are they saying that it's like this is an original work that got made into a novel, or are they saying that this is from the Lord of the Rings novel? Came out in theaters here, did it? Wow. It's peak mid. All right, cool. I was unaware. Moving on. Acro Trip. Did not watch that. Agent Blue. One episode. It's a horror. All right, cool. Alps no Rojin Heidi no Oji-san. So some sort of... Okay, that's... Yeah, definitely seems like a screwball or gag comedy to do with Heidi of the Alps. Yeah, but it's about the grandfather. Okay, whatever. Moving on. Ao no Hako. I think it's interesting that this gets classified in the OVA section. Heather and I are watching this. This has been pretty good. I feel Heidi in 2024. Oh God, the Japanese. I don't know why they love Heidi. I think I want to say it's because they did the series back in the day, back when I would have been like a kid. So 30 or 40 years ago, they did a series about it, and it probably got shown on NHK like a whole bunch of times, and so people are kind of know it and are fond of it. There could be other reasons. Maybe people read a translation of it in high school or in elementary school. I'm not really sure. There's probably, it's like us having Little Women or like having Anne of Green Gables. I think maybe that's the kind of thing where it's like this is a known quantity that somehow you kids will learn about, and so everyone has a piece of this as nostalgia. Pat Bear tells me if it airs on a streamer before it airs on Japanese TV, even like a day before, AniChart considers it an ONA, an original net animation. The Heidi anime was 1975. Wow. Yeah, Japan also has Anne of Green Gables. It's true. There was I think it's like the most popular places for Japanese people to go on vacation in Canada are Banff and Lake Louise. Maybe Jasper too, I'm not sure, but generally it tends to be Banff and Lake Louise in the Alberta Rockies, and Prince Edward Island because of Lucy Maud Montgomery and Anne of Green Gables. I don't know if they ever did Japanese translations of Avonlea, which was running on CBC for a very, very long time. Road to Avonlea. I think there was also there was some Anne of Green Gables related stuff as well that also got CBC series as well. Those were like big deals back when I was in like junior high and high school, that they were running for a long time. I think freaking like Sarah Polley actually was on those before she was able to break out and do Hollywood movies and stuff. Anyway, we should talk about Blue Box. I do not think that this doesn't mean anything. This is a romance that happens to be built around sports teams. And it does get complicated. It gets a triangle, which I think is very interesting. And I spend a lot of time feeling like that Chono Hina here, Hina deserves better than she's getting. I really do think she's so great. I like her so much. I want her to win. Like this, whatever's developing here is really cute. The whole idea is that, like, this is an unexpected turn of events. It's the first episode. Here's what's going to happen. This guy who's in year 1 falls for her who's in year 2 because he happens to go to school early in the morning to practice badminton, and he sees her at the school practicing basketball. They're both on their respective teams. He really likes her, like has a crush on her. And then he goes home and finds out that, she's moving into his house because her parents are moving overseas to another prefecture. I don't fucking space. It doesn't matter. They're out of the picture. They're not going to be around for a bit. So she needs a place to live. Well, it turns out that his mom and her mom know each other from whatever, but these people have never met, but they were on the same basketball team together back in the day. And so she wants to stay in Tokyo or wherever the fuck this is taking place. And so therefore, the mom's like, oh, I know what I'll do is I'll look up my friend who I barely ever talk to, or that you guys have never met each other and don't know about or whatever, but that way you can move into our house and live here. You can have the room beside this guy. And I remember what I was like in high school, and I'm just kind of like, man, I'd have to be real quiet. But it's like, this is I'm just like, yes, this puts a lot of pressure on there, and I get where he's coming from, because if you don't know right away, you get really fast. He can't make a move on her now, because this is her house that she lives in. And if he does try to say, I like you and I want to date you, it's like, well, that's going to be awkward for a while. But the nice thing, I believe, is that Hina actually gave him some advice at one point, was like, look, you gotta, like, you can keep overthinking it, or you could just not overthink it and actually just deal with whatever you're going through. But then I think a friend of hers gave her the same advice too, to be like, look, you can keep overthinking this, or you can actually do something about it. Oh my God, they were roommates. Yes, Aikatana, they were roommates. It's nice because I'm like, there is kind of this connection that's bubbling between the two of them, and I think it's kind of great. And I like the fact that because Hina's gotten involved in this whole triangle now, because she likes him, that it means that Chinatsu's, she does wake up and start paying attention, and we're like a few episodes into this, obviously. And so, yeah, we're watching it. We like it. What I do like about it is that there's sports in it. They've definitely done a lot of mocap for people in the background, which is very fun to watch. And on screen and everything, I think there's a lot of mocap that's been turned into very smooth animation. So lots of CG there. Doesn't feel like Gohan's stuff. It feels like what it is. But yeah, this has been good. I think it's a good balance. If you are not a fan of sports anime, I think you can watch and appreciate this. If you are a fan of sports anime, there isn't enough sports in this, I think, to keep you locked in. But if you are a fan of sports anime and you like a good romance as well, I think there might be enough here to feel like, okay, well, I'm comfortable watching this. Like, you have to be able to like multiple genres. I tend to be down on most sports anime unless it's a very weird sport. Like Burning Kabaddi was a lot of fun for me. It's a sport I have no interest to play, but I do think it's very goofy that there's just like kind of a kabaddi boom in the minds of people. And rate this versus Birdie Wing. This is an actual romance. Birdie Wing has so much almost golf in it that I shouldn't say almost golf. I should say hyper golf. It has so much hyper golf in it versus this, which has little bits of badminton, more badminton than you would expect. It concentrates more on him and his thought processes than on her, but we do get to see inside her mind a little bit every so often, but not a ton. Like really, really, it feels like this is a shonen romance because we're getting to see what's going on in his brain more than her. But everything's realistic. It's happening at a high school level. They keep calling it nationals. Everyone's going to go to inter-high, and they keep calling it nationals. And I was just like, yeah, I guess everyone's got to go to nationals at some point. We got to go to nationals. I'm going to regionals first and go to nationals. I'm just like, man, so yeah, it's been fine. It's been I shouldn't say fine because it's not fine. It's been good. We've liked it. We've liked watching it, and I'm looking forward to watching more of it. I don't think I can binge it. And I think there are romances I've watched that I've enjoyed way more. Kimi ni Toroke. It's a bit of a shame that the third season is only the 4 episodes that are like hour long each, 5 episodes, whatever. But I'm like, I would have preferred a little bit more of that. But maybe Netflix will do more of it. I don't know, to kind of really sum up the story, but whatever. But this has been good. This has been good for a romance drought, I felt. Asatir 2, Mirai no Mukashi Banashi. I don't know why I like the character design. This is really good. Oh, it's toy animation. And it's an adventure. Is it meant to take place in another country? Are these people not Japanese because the skin tone's slightly darker? Is that what they're alleging here? Maybe not. Maybe just the flying book or something. I don't really know. Anyway, moving on. Bananya, Around the World. Anyway, Beastar's final season, part 1. Haven't started watching yet. I've read the manga. I know how it goes. I know how it ends. If this is following that, I'm mostly just watching it to see how well they animate it. That's pretty much it. And to see how much of it they can cram in there. I have enjoyed Beastars the whole way through. Even the ending, which I felt was not the ending I wanted. I think, I don't know, I feel like it maybe has gone to, like it gets into the whole, like, we just have to have a big fight. And I'm like, yeah, I hate that that's what happens. But I think part of that is because it was time to wrap this up and we need to do it in a climactic way. So let's just have a big fight. I'm like, yeah, Still, so this is part 1 of the final season. I guess we'll get more of it later. But yeah, Dead Demons Destruction. I was told that the movies came first and then there's the series. I haven't watched the series yet, but it finished airing in May. Doki Demo Makibao, didn't watch. Dowa Revengers, mini anime of Tokyo Revengers and renditions of various fairy tales. Okay, didn't watch that. Duel Masters Lost, Tsuyoku no Suisho, not Tsuisho, Suisho. Didn't watch that. Dungeon ni Deai o Motomeru no wa Machigatte iru daro ka vi Hojo no Megami Hen. That's, she's not wearing clothing. Let's just be honest. That woman has no clothes on. That is what she is doing. She has chosen to not wear clothes. Moving on. Elf-san wa Yaserarenai specials. So, remember I dropped this. I didn't realize they were getting unaired episodes for stuff. I dropped this because it was way too horny. I don't remember the manga being as horny as this is, and maybe I don't know whose idea it was. So, moving on. Gokon ni ittara onna ga inakatta hanashi. Didn't watch this. Dazzlingly Handsome Men. Moving on. High Card, The Flowers Bloom. Nope, didn't watch that. Hitori Bochi. Oh, new Bochi. No Isekai. Oops. Koryaku. Nope. List of skills he can freely pick, except that he doesn't, and then he gets the loner skill. Moving on. Kazuhiho to Marie no Yokoso Kitchen. From a light novel. All right. Don't know anything about that. Kido Senshi Gundam ALC Encounter. So special animation to be screened at this shopping. Who knows if anyone actually has a copy of this or what has happened there. There's a new Gundam. Moving on. Kido Senshi Gundam Fukushu no Requiem. There's another new Gundam. All very realistic looking. Didn't watch that. Kuromi's Pretty Journey. Hacha Mecha. Multiverse Daidashitsu. I think is actually coming out now. Oh, it is. It did finish coming out. It's a sequel to it, and whatever. I didn't watch any of those. Murai no Koi. Okay. My surprise of the season. My God, I love this. I didn't realize this was going to be a gag anime, by and large. The animation is sketchy as fuck, and it's so good. It's so good. It's like they started by saying, no, we don't have a lot of money to put into this. So let's just go fucking hard with how dumb it is. And I love it. And I know some people be like, oh, this whole thing about, student confessing to a teacher, I can't handle that. Fine. I understand. You can't deal with it. Great. That's okay. Let's talk about, though, what makes this fun is the animation and the characters. That the animation is a lot of like that kind of thing. A lot of that is going on. A lot of like pans of stuff. A lot of people drawn like very severely. Like all of this art looks really, really good. And in the show, yeah, they're on model most of the time, and then sometimes they're not, and sometimes they're drawn ridiculously to kind of prove that it's. Is it similar animation to The Way of the House Husband? Oh no, it's worse. Like it's just like it's when they need to animate stuff well, they will do it, and they don't need to do it that well. Like they don't need to be like all smooth and animating on twos, like shooting on twos and stuff. You gotta watch this. Okay, Travelog says. The PV, yeah. Watch the preview video. I want to show you the preview video. I don't think I should, but it says comedy. This is gag comedy. It's meant to be frenetic. It's meant to be stupid as hell. It's meant to just like really lean into what it is, and that's. I know people be like, I like it when there are things that know what they are and that's what they will then be, and I'm like. Yeah, we say that about a lot of things, and I think this might be one of those things that it knew what it was, and it's like, well, we can make this stupid, and why not? We should. It's like Bocchi the Rock being able to. It's like, how do we illustrate social anxiety in a way that's not going to alienate people watching the show and feel like really awkward and really like, oh, this is really cringe or whatever. It's like, oh, I know. What if we choose different ways to animate Bocchi having her breakdowns, and we can do them in ways that are incredibly unexpected and do not fit into the normal look of things? That will be enough to distance people from what would actually be happening in this case. We can take a step back from what would be a serious situation, and we can make it comedic by making it really ridiculous. And it's like, yeah, that's a great way to escape that. And I love like Gyagumanga Biori. I love that show because I love that it is so stupid. I mean, but I also like Pop Team Epic and stuff like that because it needs to be really like just a departure from what you're getting. It can't be a romance series like Blue Box is or like Kimi Todo is or like any of those things. This has to be stupid. And yeah, I mean, ultimately this has a good resolution. If it wasn't for the fact that they needed more of a resolution, I felt it's like, yeah, I know what's supposed to be happening at the end of this, and I know what we're kind of alleging is going on, and I'm like, we got through the whole thing, and I just wanted a better epilogue than what we got. But there's lots here to like, and as far as an age gap romance comedy goes, I feel like I think this really hit it home. Like, I'm like, yeah, you told this story, and for people who like this kind of thing, and I like student teacher age gap romances because I think they're very interesting because it introduces a barrier of, you've got a clear barrier, and so how do you transgress that barrier? Can you transgress that barrier? What do you do? Does that make the yearning even more? This is fucking go on AO3. Like, we know there's lots of us out there that are into the weird shit anyway. So now I like this kind of thing. So anyway, I love this. If you watch the BP and you're like, I can deal with this, and you like age gap, student teacher, romance, whatever, you should definitely check this out. You've missed something if you didn't watch it. All right, Nui Story 2, second season of Nui Story, which I didn't watch. One Piece fan letter, did not watch that. Rising Impact, golf. Thanks, Gowan. Moving on, Saikyo no Shien Shoku Wajutsushi. Dearu ore wa sekai Saikyo clan o shitagaeru. Didn't watch that. Yamato yo Toani Rebel 3199, new project. Didn't watch that. Yoru wa Nekoto Isho season 3, didn't watch that. Yo to, no, it's probably Yutu nya Christmas Tokubetsu Hen. Didn't watch that. All right. That's it. Things I liked this season. Ranma was a lot of fun. I got Heather to watch Mirai in Love. And I really thought that was going to, from watching the first episode, I was like, oh, fuck, she's not going to want to watch any more of this. I could tell from the animation, the frenetic whatever, she's not going to watch any more of it. She was willing to continue watching it with me, and we did have conversations about it, and that we both seemed to like it. So I was like, yeah, this is good. So kind of those, I mean, those are my immediate highlights of things I remember. Blue Boxes has been good. But yeah, Ranma 1/2 has been a lot of fun, and Mirai in Love was like my standout. So, right. Let's talk about winter. And yes, I know people are loving Dan Da Dan. I think that's great. I will probably go check out an episode at some point. I have also understood that it might be a level of violence I am uncomfortable with, even if it is not maintained through the whole show. I got to figure that out. We'll see. Julia Mom, we had a break at 3 o'clock. So we'll have another break in about 20 minutes. I even set a thing on my new watch. Got a new watch. All right. So let's talk about winter 2025. A rank party o riratsu shita ore wa motto oshiego tachi to meikyu shinbu o mezasu. Period. Based on a light novel. Probably not watching this, though. UK, a red mage, angrily declares he's leaving Thunderpike, the A-rank party he's been with for 5 years because he's fed up with being insulted and ridiculed by the other members. Yeah, for 5 years, I'd be maybe sick of that, too. While searching for a new party, he runs into his former students, Marina, Silk, and Rain, and decides to join their party, Clover. Encouraged by their admiration of him as a teacher, UK leads him in completing several quests that show off his own extraordinary magic and skills while bringing out the girl's abilities to their fullest. Then through an adventure broadcast by an artifact known as Camelot. What? I guess you have to, I don't know how else you say anything like that. Clover becomes well known throughout society. Okay. The party's dream is to conquer achromatic darkness, the most challenging dungeon of all, but as they take on other dungeons in hopes of eventually achieving that goal, they gradually become entangled in chaos that threatens the whole world. Okay. I don't know. It leaves me cold. Just the reading of it. You know what I'm okay, right? We've had this conversation. In fact, we can have the conversation a lot of things. It's like we're all gonna like different stuff. That's fine. I didn't even touch on this at the top of the episode. I should have done my PSA for this. We're all gonna like different stuff. Because I don't like a thing that you do like does not mean that I'm shitting on the thing that you like. I might shit on a thing that you like out of the fun of being able to say something, incendiary. But I want to be clear. It's like I am only making fun, and I think that we should be able to be. If we're all weebs here, we all know that we are people that need to be made fun of in the community, at least. Let's accept the fact that people like different things, and also smut is okay. It's even a tag this time. I put it in the thing. Smut is okay. Just don't force your smut on other people, and if somebody has a yum that's one of your yucks, that's fine. My only line I draw is as long as it's not hurting other people. And I know BDSM, oh, you're hurting other people. I'm like, those are clearly defined boundaries, and responsible adults can deal with things the way they need to do that. So, yes, there. Kitsune's got it right. When Beej calls your waifu trash, know that my waifus are also trash. So, no, not loading ready run, smut is okay. Beej says, loading ready run. Beej keeps saying, smut is okay. We are largely not responsible for the things that Beej says. Okay, anyway, keep moving on. Akuyakurejo Tensei Oji-san. So, villainous genius Oji-san. I'm going to watch this because I'm reading this. After traffic accident, 52-year-old civil servant Kenzaburo Tondabayashi awakens to find he's become Grace Auvergne, a duke's daughter. That's her with the drills. and more importantly, the villainous of an otome game. Not wanting to get in the way of the happy endings of the young characters around him, Grace sets out to play the role of the villain, but whether it's due to Kenzabuto's memories of being an affectionate parent getting in the way, or not being able to remember those pesky foreign names properly, it ends up being a lot harder than it looks. Okay, the crux of this game, or the crux of this anime, which I think makes it funny, is his daughter is currently playing the game while he's in it. And then his wife comes over to watch the daughter play. And this is like a college-age daughter. His wife walks over to watch her play the game. They both realize he's stuck in the game. Yeah. I don't know why they don't mention that in here, because I think it's an amazing detail. So yeah, he knows about this game because he's, again, an affectionate parent, but getting in the way, because he'd watched his daughter play some of this game, so he had some idea of it. But he acts like a 52-year-old civil servant, salaryman type of dude, right? Like, this is how you're supposed to greet people. This is how you're supposed to act. These are how I'm supposed to interact with other people. It's a lot of fun because of that. And I think it elevates it, because he is just like, he doesn't belong in this character, but it'd be because it's all these other game isekai things are usually like, oh, Truck-kun sent me into my own game, and now I know all the future things, so I can make all this shit happen. But then I changed it all, and everyone loves me. And I'm like, that's fine. We have lots of those. The idea of, I got sent to this game that I only know a little bit about because I watched my daughter play it, and this is not my audience. At least that's different. That is a twist. That's why I'm going to watch it and see what the realization is like of the manga, which I'm enjoying. Ameku Takao no Suiri Karte NG. I'm watching this. Probably. Watch the first episode. It's not bad. I think it's going to be good. I'm interested to see it become good. There's a lot of stuff you're going to be like, tropey. You know, I get these things. They're tropey. Yes, this is House, but more gremlin than curmudgeon. Yeah, yes. It's not clear, but she's like the size of a kid. I don't know if that's because she's only like maybe 15 years old or something like that, and she is a genius. It's clear that she is a genius, but she's just like, you know, the size of like she's the size of, it's like a Chio-chan type thing from Azumanga Daioh, right? It's like this kid who is incredibly smart is how you kind of feel about this. I don't know what we're going to get revealed, if there's more to this than that. I'm not really sure. Oh, she drinks beer? Cool. I haven't watched the second episode yet. I didn't remember her drinking beer in the first episode, so. Yeah. I think I'm going to like it. We'll see. I watched the first episode with Heather. I don't know if she's sold on it or not yet either. But if it's something that we can watch together, then that's great. And I like a good mystery, and I like medical mysteries. And oh my God, Apothecary Diaries Season 2? Yeah, absolutely. Ao no Exorcist Yosuga Hen. Don't watch Blue Exorcist. Moving on. Arafo Otoko no Isekai Tsuhan Seikatsu. Kenichi, a single man in his 40s, transmigrates to another world while foraging in the mountains. Kenichi was walking in the woods, and he ate a mushroom that he shouldn't have. And he gets out of danger by using the special online shopping skill that he was given when he was transferred. With the buyback function, he can cash in his otherworldly belongings and buy goods from modern Japan. When he started selling those items in the market, they quickly became popular and sold for a good price. Ooh, okay, so this will be like I'm gonna create my own Amazon in the another world. He could have continued to grow his store, but Kenichi fucking gave up because he's like, I don't want to care about anything anymore. I just want to live with my waifus. He's happily living self-sufficiently on the outskirts of town, but one after another trouble arises, and he's the only middle-aged man who can fucking deal with it. So anyway, he becomes the strange wizard. The thing is I'm like, comedy fantasy I'd be fine with, but we're seeing ecchi fantasy, and I'm also seeing a little kid in a schoolgirl's outfit. I'm like, I don't know I don't know what's happening. I don't know what to think. I don't know what's going to go on. I do like that the cat girls have whiskers. They actually are beast people, I guess, then maybe too. I don't really know how it's supposed to. There's something else down here that I can't tell what that is. I don't know. One of those things where I'm like, I don't know if I would enjoy this. I don't think I'm going to bother picking it up. Oh, the ecchi is not really a part of it. Oh, that's refreshing. This manga is fun enough trash. Thank you, Pat. That's interesting. I'll think about this. I don't know. I don't know. But I'll think about this. Maybe a little harder. We'll see. Baban vampire. That just kind of stopped me right there. I was like, he wants he wants to go to the bathhouse all the time. And I'm like, to get the blood of the 18-year-old guy who works, or the 15-year-old watches over the girl. I'm just like, I don't care. That's fine. It's probably good. Maybe it's not. I can't say. All I see is that. I'm just like, I'm not interested in learning more. Bang Dream, Ave Mujica. Will you give me the rest of your life? After losing everything in a single night, Sakiko Togawa reaches out toward an even deeper abyss. One will drag everyone around her. I thought isn't Bang Dream like, hey, we're girls on stage playing in a band. Gathering the lives of girls burdened with their own troubles and desires, Sakiko raises the curtains on a perfect masquerade. Welcome to the world of Ave Mujica. On a stage where sorrow, death, fear, love, even the solace of forgetting are stripped away, will the masks be torn off and shattered into oblivion, or will they? Okay. Yeah, slice of life, I won't. I imagine this is hey, a bunch of people from Bang Dream? Well, we're going to do a more serious take on this. And sure, if you're a fan of Bang Dream, maybe that's what you've been waiting for, is different takes on those things. Definitely reads a lot like fucking Starlight. Review, whatever, Starlight. Say the word Starlight a lot. The giraffe will love this. Anyway. Yote, not yote. Botsuraku yote no kizoku dakedo, hima datta kara maho wa kiwamete mita. While innocently enjoying himself after work. Nice. One man's life changes forever. He wakes up in the body of Liam Hamilton, the youngest son of a noble house on the brink of collapse. Amid the chaos, Liam realized... Sorry. I just realized what I alleged is this guy jerked himself off to death. Anyway, amid the chaos, Liam realizes he finally has time to learn and practice magic. Once he begins, it takes his life for an even bigger turn. Can Liam master magic and save his noble family? Yes. I'm not going to watch this. Card Fight, Vanguard, Divinez, Deluxe Hand. Not going to watch that either. It's a tournament to discover the strongest, which means I guess it's finally ending. Who knows? Class no daikirai na joshi to kekkon suru. Oh, that's marriage. Koto ni natta. High school student Saito Hojo, who is that tiny little pinprick right there, is set to inherit his grandfather's major corporation. First, he must marry Akane Sakuramori, that big lady here. It's going to be hard because she's like 50 feet tall. The girl he despises the most and who hates him just as much. The two are determined to keep their unexpected marriage a secret from their classmates, but as they begin their newlywed life, the distance between them starts to close. Thank you, Pat. There's a lot of romantic comedies this season, and this is one of them. Please enjoy it, if it is your jam. Dose koshite shimaunda. So this feels very like the wallflower here. It's July 1, 2020. Mizuha, a high school second year, is having the worst 17th birthday ever. She's missing her chance to get close to the older student she admires. Her parents need to remember that it's her birthday. Worst of all, the Olympics are canceled. And so all her club tournaments and school trips have been canceled as well. She's convinced that she'll never have the dazzling youth she's always dreamed of. But then her childhood friend Mizuki, one of these 4 eligible bachelors, suddenly declares himself horny for her. This is a school youth story about 4 childhood friends who grew up like family, one being the heroine, Nishino Mizuha, and the 4 boys she grew up with, whom she sees as not a fucking option. Which of the four boys dies from COVID? Why should it have to be? I mean, Cookie Mom, if that would heighten the drama, then why should it only be one of them? Why shouldn't all four of them just all get COVID? And then that makes it tragic that they all are like they're all going to the hospital. Anyway, I don't really care about this. Maybe it's good. It's a school youth story after all. Maybe it's good. It's a romantic drama too. I mean, and yeah, love in the time of COVID was going to be a thing, was always going to be a thing. So there we go. It makes sense, right? You want to do it of the time. A lot of people making stories that are set in the now where COVID doesn't exist. Like I'm reading modern stuff where I even read like a chapter, an afterword in a chapter from the mangaka who was like, hey, so I decided that despite the fact that we have this whole COVID thing going on, I do not want to try to work it into my story. So this is a world where none of that happened. And I'm like, that's fair, right? If you're writing a, ripped from the headlines, this thing is kind of happening, but it's like, I think that is interesting. But I don't know. It doesn't maybe fit into every story. So manga started in November 2020. That makes a lot of sense. We didn't even have, I don't even think we had vaccines ready at that point. So how is she supposed to love when she can't smell any of them? It's true. The edible dragon, the lack of pheromones will mean that none of these people ever get attracted to each other. Though I guess if she sees them as family, that means that that she will not be, because she cannot detect the familiar pheromones that makes her think of them as childhood friends and therefore not an option, that she will feel differently about them now because it's like, oh, and now all of a sudden you don't stink like my family anymore. You stink like nothing at all. Not a fan of that word. That's why I like to say it, apparently. Hey, you know what? It's 4 o'clock. We're going to have a brief stop for a 3-minute break, and we'll come back really soon. So stick around. More of whatever I've been doing after this. And we're back with more of the Roundup. We got an hour to go. And that moves us into Dr. Stone, Science Future. The first cour of the 4th season of Dr. Stone. That means that there will be a second cour later, obviously. I believe this is how they're just kind of leaning into it now. Senku and the Kingdom of Science revived Tsukasa and build a spaceship to reach Y-Man on the moon. I guess rather than just like getting it, I can't read this, or rather, I can't watch it. I watched enough of it, and I think I got to the point where they were like, we set it in our ship, and we ended up on an island, and then we had to a bunch of people were taken hostage, I think, and then everyone remaining behind has to use the science-y shit that they have to try to, and it just got to a point where I was like, oh, no, I'm done. Like, it just kind of, it might have been the end of part 1 of New World. I don't know. I was just like, I don't care enough about putting up with the constant conflict. What I wanted this to be was we slowly bring people back and we expand it. Like, I wanted it to be we have to rebuild the world. So let's do that. Now, rightfully, the authors recognize that in a world like this, if you revive people who don't want to work with you on your project and they want to go ahead and do it themselves, especially if they are stronger than you and there aren't like police and courts and like all these kind of like things to put on there. If you have people who are fairly amoral and just be like, fuck it, I'm going to kill you and then it'll be fine. I can have this whole world to myself. That's what I want. Even though, I don't have creature comforts, I don't whatever, I've never cared about that. I just want to have things the way that I want them. And that's fine. Yeah, I was like, sure. I get that there's going to have to be conflict in that way. There was just something, though, about the what I wanted out of it was we're gonna slowly work together and try to do the things that we need to do to get science rolling again. And in the process, we're gonna teach you how somebody with a great knowledge of chemistry and physics and biology, how they can use those things to basically kickstart civilization again. And I'm like, there's so much in that. There's so much in that. I'm like, that could be a big story, but it would not be a shonen story, right? That could be a seinen story, maybe, right? That could be something that's maybe more kid-based of interest, right? Like, there was a survival show I watched a while ago, Uninhabited Planet Survive. These kids in a spaceship, it's a class of like 10 kids or whatever, are in a spaceship shuttle. They're going through a wormhole or a gate or something. They get separated from everybody else, and they crash land on this planet. And then they have to learn how to survive on this island on this one planet. This is a planet's all water, I guess, and has one island. I don't know. But they land on an uninhabited planet. And it's very Swiss Family Robinson, like, we don't have whatever, but we'll build a big fucking treehouse. And they eventually do. And I'm like, I like that. I like the video game Lost in Blue. You wind up on an island. You have to try to learn how to create the trappings of civilization for yourself and live a life here. And take care of yourself, and using your own ingenuity to make it all come together. I like those kind of I like stories that are microcosms, that are like you have taken the world is out there for you, and you can experience all parts of the world. But we live in a world now where the world has been explored and discovered, and we know all that kind of stuff. And it's like, so what happens if you zoom in? Like, what if we make it that's like, but you've lost all the stuff you would normally have? Castaway, a movie that I love. Don't really want to watch it again, but a movie that I love for the sense of, I'm going to try to get through my, we're going to try to live this life here. I want to survive. I want to live. So I'm going to do that. I liked, and so I like video games like SimCity and that kind of stuff too. Had a big illustrated copy of Robinson Crusoe, probably abridged. But the pictures were amazing because they just kind of give you this sense of, this guy in an island, and he's grown a gigantic beard, and he's made he's made straw clothing and leaf clothing for himself to kind of cover him and shade him from the sun. Why? Because it's actually a good idea. And that's what I want. I want those kind of stories of, we all have to pull together so we can all make this work. We are going to rely, the more people we have, the more resources we have to be able to rebuild stuff. And my favorite parts of Dr. Stone are the ones where I'm going to invent eyeglasses, or not invent them, but I'm going to create them. I'm going to create battery chemistry. I'm going to create a fucking cell phone. Like, they get ridiculous, obviously, right? But it's like, I'm going to make stuff and utilize what we have to be able to create it. And maybe I can only do like a couple of these things. I can only do like a, this kind of thing or that kind of thing. But yeah, I want to, I'm going to create ramen from millet, which is what you wouldn't normally use, but we can use that. And I love those ideas. And I'm like, there's a sense of, if you were, I think Dr. Stone's fascinating because the idea of like, what if you ended up in this world, so the biology of stuff that's around here, but like 1,000 years in the future, so everything's overgrown and broken down and whatever. You're like, there's enough stuff you might be able to find where it's like, oh, well, we can make use of some things because some things might persist, and we can, there'll be wheat crops that are growing wild in places, right? And they'll have changed over 1,000 years, obviously, too. But it's like, what if you could find wheat crops then? What if you can find like whatever cows have turned into? Some cows are not going to be able to like continue to live. That's fine. What if there are other beasts of burden and stuff that you discover? And it's like, oh, now what if we can start ranching again? What if we can start doing things with grains? Like, what happens when humanity that knows all this stuff, like, it's like watching primitive technology. I love primitive technology. try to only watch that one. Like I don't watch a bunch of the other ones because I think I just get mired in like dozens and dozens of those. So I just like, I pick this guy. I like what he does. Why? Because it's this idea of like, I've learned how to do a thing reading books or talking to people or whatever, and now I'm going to take that knowledge and all my modern day knowledge too, but I can understand that using just the things that exist on the land, what can I turn that into? How does my ingenuity apply? Clearly, I know that wood ash has calcium carbonate as an option, and I can create mortar out of that. Now, if I was a caveman, I wouldn't know what any of those things are or how any of that works. So it would take me, I couldn't just decide to do that one day. It's like, oh, I know this is whatever. It's like, sure. But you know the chemistry and you know these things. You're like, hey, did you know like with wood ash, I can do this and I can make cement out of this, and that'll actually improve my whole, setup that I have going on here. I know how to make a kiln. I can accelerate. And I'm like, that's what I love is the idea of like primitive technology acceleration to like, how do we get from there to here? And how fast can we do it? Like, what can we work on to make those things happen? And that's a thing I loved about Dr. Stone as well, where they're like, hey, you know what? Grains. We have access to grains. We can start agriculture on a larger basis. We can start planting wheat. And I was like, yeah, this is good. This is what I want. The kind of like James Burke connections thing of if I do this, then I can do this. And once I have these things, then I can do this next. And once I have these things, I can do this next. And I'm like, that's super great. I love that. Dr. Stone, I feel like in order to try to make it a compelling drama or, action series, they got action adventure in here, that they're like, well, we got to do this. And I'm like, and now we're going to build a spaceship. I'm like, I don't care. Moving on. It's a lot of me talking about stuff that I like just to kind of say I'm not going to watch a show. We probably won't have a lot of instances of that anymore. But I just felt let down by Dr. Stone because it wasn't what I wanted. I don't think it's bad. I'm just like, it's not what I wanted. And I'm a 45-year-old man. And I don't fucking care about World War II. So I got to care about something. All right. Farmagia. In Felicidad, farmers known as the Farmagia raise monsters under the peaceful rule of the Magus Deliculum. After the Magus passes, a power struggle erupts among forces using monsters to seize control. In the town of Sentveld, Farmagia 10 and his friends band together against the despotic new ruler Glaza. 10, his friends and their homegrown monsters must stay strong to defend their freedom. Cool. Video game? Video game. Cool. Wasn't really that interested in the game. I'm not going to watch the show. Fugu Shoku Kanteishi ga Jitsu wa Saikyo datta Naraku de Kitaita Saikyo no Shingon de Muso Suru. 2 square brackets in the same title. Great. Ein has been saddled with the job of appraiser, the weakest and least fortunate of all the jobs. What a fucking tragedy. As the only power it grants is the ability to fucking look at stuff and decide it's a table. Treated cruelly by all and reduced to a litter collector by his peers, Ein has grown to hate himself and lives his days in spineless self-abasement. As well you should, you piece of crap. But when he meets Yuri, the spirit of the world tree, and her protector, Ursula the Sage, Ein's fate takes a drastic turn. Titties enter his life with the gift of a spirit eye from Yuri and the help of Ursula. Fuck, can't say Yuri and then Ursula. In learning how to use it, Ein grows stronger and stronger until he's ready to take Yuri on her long-desired journey to meet her World Tree's sisters. He goes on to overcome all sorts of challenges, armed with his natural kindness and his newfound courage. Awesome. Great. Cool. Kind of didn't... I think, here's the problem. We had Ein to start with. I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to be thinking Cowboy Bebop, and that's my fault, but whatever. And then that, and I'm like, okay, usually though appraisal is like the ability that you get where everyone says, oh, lol, that's hilarious, that's useless. And then you find out that actually it's the best thing ever. And everybody needs to be an appraiser because it's the only thing in the world that matters to anyone who fucking matters. And you'll be king tomorrow. And in this case, weakest and less fortunate. Okay, good. Great take. Fine. But then everyone abuses this guy, treated cruelly by all. So let's abuse this person for having this role, and then let's have him meet some people who are like, no, but you are the greatest, and why not be the greatest? I'm like, oh, okay. Will it be fun? I don't know. I'm not reading it. I don't know anything about it. I don't know anything about it other than what I just read. Being an appraiser is exactly actually what makes him great, Beej. Oh, okay, good. All right. I mean, there's the whole natural kindness and his newfound courage. That's good to hear. That's the twist. He's just given cool powers. Wait, sorry. So he's an appraiser, and then these people show up and they're like, we'll give you the spirit eye, and now you'll have new abilities. Okay. All right. Well, I guess maybe it was bound to happen in this person's life. I will move on. I'm not interested in watching it myself. Grisaya, Phantom Trigger, the animation TV. Several years after the fruit of Grisaya, what was once Mihama Academy, a sanctuary for young girls, has now been transformed into a SWORD, Special Organization for Research and Development. Oh, this is like what we had in CFB Suffield. They had a training school that was military as well, after a fashion. It was like related to DARPA somehow. I can't remember what we called it. Dedicated to fostering talent for national defense. Reina and Maki specialize in firearms. Toka and Gumi excel at sniping. That's also firearms, but now it's with a different kind of gun. Chris handles explosives, which is also a kind of gun, but it's like a big gun that is like in multiple directions at once. And data processing is also a different type of gun, but now it's shooting bits. And Murasaki is a skilled ninja for intelligence operations, the kind of gun that uses knives. Together, they take on cases too complex for the police or self-defense forces, repeatedly facing dangerous missions. The story of these young girls painted in blood and gunpowder. That is a great line. I still don't really care about The Thing, but, it's, sequel to The Thing. And there it is. Guild no uketsu keijo desu ga zangyo wa iya nanode boss o solo tobatsu shiyo to omoimasu. Cloverworks again. I like Cloverworks works. Alina thought she had found the perfect job as a guild receptionist. It's stable, safe, and has a super cute uniform. I think it's this one here with the ruffles. But as this dream gig turns into an overtime nightmare whenever adventurers get stuck clearing a dungeon, tired of the long nights, Alina starts taking down the bosses herself. She even earns the name Executioner for her impressive skills. Can she keep her identity a secret? Probably, maybe. I think it's a neat idea. A lot of people in chat apparently have also read this. She's a giant hammer. Oh, that's what's behind her. Okay. It's hard to tell what's going on in this thing. I don't know if I'd watch it. It's pretty light, but it's fun. I have watched some light stuff in the last few seasons as well. I just, it's blank because I'm just like, while I am kind of interested in the idea, I didn't, it's just like, just didn't pick me up. Like, obviously, I'm glad a lot of people are into it because that's encouraging. I don't know if I would be specifically. There's a lot of manga there's a lot of anime that I started that have been these kind of sword and sorcery things, where after 2 or 3 episodes I end up abandoning them. It just seems like there's been more recently, and this is definitely not an isekai. This is the world I live in. And probably, I kind of get the idea that, like what draws me to this is the idea of that I am the receptionist at a guild. I am a job where people come in and they give me stuff, and I have to deal with that. And I guess maybe what I was expecting is more of a the manga is about all the stupid stuff I have to do in town to kind of keep people from fighting each other, and there's the disputes, or like, oh, the new guy with magical powers that our god gave him has shown up, and now I have to deal with this. He keeps flirting with me, or he keeps thinking he's flirting with me, but he's not. like kind of expected like that kind of the life of a person who works at the guild, but yeah. But I guess you can't really get traction as a story if you don't do more with the main character than just have them live the life they live. But moving on, Hanawasaku Shura no Gotoku. On the picturesque island of Tonakijima with a population of only 600, Hana's favorite pastime is reading literature to the island's children. Okay, her narration skills are second to none, and Mizuki, the president of the school's broadcasting club, immediately recognizes Hana's ability to engage with others and draw them into her recitations. Invited by Mizuki to join the club, Hana embarks on a journey to discover her true love of reading and maybe even change the course of her life along the way. I am going to watch this. At least I'm going to give it a test and see what it turns into. This is a really weird take on cute girls doing cute things. I don't think it is. What I really liked is they just were like, we're going to put you on this tiny island and we're going to give you, your favorite thing to do is something that sounds incredibly boring. But we're going to show you how you can turn it into something that it's a skill that you don't know is will work for you. And I think I take that as a hopeful premise because of, looking back on my life and being like, oh, you went to an anime club because it was something you wanted to do, like it was the way you wanted to spend your time, and then your friend at the anime club was like, oh, we should start an improv troupe, and then you did that for a while and you really liked doing it, and you realized how much people loved watching you perform for them and doing silly shit, and that was a lot of fun, but it's like, there's no way that's going to make me any money in the future, and I'm going to, this business degree is the thing that's actually going to be the thing that gives me a comfortable job, and I can do the improv thing on the side. And now here we are, 20 years later, where I'm like, oh, did you know you can be the business manager of a performance troupe, and you can also keep acting and doing silly shit? It is possible. So, yeah, that's very encouraging, and it's fun to see because when I was in high school, I was on the yearbook club, and I really thought for a while, I'm like, I could get into desktop publishing. There's a piece of, I think I have a really good eye for design, and there's one thing I can't do is illustrate. Like I can't just from whole cloth draw a thing and create that kind of. I don't think I'm good at that, and so. If I had spent time learning how to do that, that might also have been a thing that would have turned me into that kind of person. And being in the club at the time was definitely a thing where it's like, this could be an option for you. You could be doing, layout and design and stuff in the future. And maybe maybe you'd work for newspapers or magazines or anybody who does print design. So we've seen what happens since then, that you'd have to eventually learn how to do web design. But yeah, the definitely skills in your wheelhouse. And this could be the same kind of thing where it's like, this might be a thing she turns into a career, doing audiobooks or doing readings or doing whatever. And it's like, that's a thing that if you just liked reading to kids, you might not have thought that it's like, oh, you have a voice that people like listening to. Have you considered doing narration? Have you considered doing voice acting? Have you considered doing audiobook reading? Have you considered doing VO for commercials, like those kind of things? There's like lots of stuff that when you're learning different skills and doing different stuff as a young person, that can pivot into letting you do other things. Somebody who plays soccer and then they hurt their knee, they might decide they want to become a sports therapist if they can't play soccer anymore. Maybe that's, you can pivot, you can do other things. Never a problem to learn other skills. But yeah, I didn't know that was an option. You're kind of like, yeah. You know what I got? So when I was in Calm class in grade 11, 1996, Calm, Korean Life Management, we all had to take it. It's going to be a long show. Fuck it, I don't care anymore. There was some... we all had to take the Myers-Briggs as part of the exercise. I think we had to part and parcel of the thing. It was like some sort of, it was an aptitude test, kind of like Myers-Briggs. So maybe it wasn't Myers-Briggs, but it was an aptitude test to kind of give you a sense of, aspects of your personality that you can distill down to a series of letters or numbers, right? Stats. Here we are again. Stats. Do we know why I have a disdain for stats? But the only things I give a shit about stat-wise is like how is my red blood cell count, my white blood cell count, my cholesterol. Those are stats, numbers that are important about my body. That's the kind of numbers I give a shit about. That would be a funny as hell anime, is an isekai about a guy who can bring up information, but all he can bring up is like medical information that is like, oh, I can tell what this guy's, his triglycerides are really high. He's going to probably have a heart attack in 3 years. That would be real funny. Anyway, that would be a different thing. That'd be a medical isekai. But anyway, took this aptitude test type thing that we did. And then everybody, based on their responses, you get to go to the book. Because they had a book. You go to the book, you open it up, and in the book it's hundreds of thousands of combinations of these letters with, I should say not hundreds of thousands of combinations, but all the combinations of the letters and hundreds of thousands of different jobs, it felt like. It's just a thick book, and it's like, here's a whole bunch of jobs that you might consider because people who are like this enjoy doing work in this area. And somebody said to me, it's like, I only had one job listed under mine. There's only one thing that was listed under their combination. And I was like, oh, what's that? And they're like, they have me down as diorama builder. I'm like, what? It's like, yeah, diorama builder was the only thing listed under their combination of 4 letters. I think it must have been a Myers-Briggs thing or whatever. And I was like, diorama builder. Really? And they're like, yeah, that's the only thing they have listed under there. I'm like, huh. Well, I'm going to go look at what mine is. And I open it up. And it turns out we had the same letters, so mine was diorama builder as well. And I fucking hate building dioramas. I had friends who had like a dozen different things they could pick from. All these different careers. And I'm like, this book must be from the 1970s. Like, must be. And that's the thing that tells me, because I'm like, the job I have now is not a job that exists in anyone's database. Most jobs out there are not jobs that exist in people's databases specifically. Just general ideas of stuff. I like to make shit. Like with my hands, I like to fix shit and make shit and do whatever. It's like I like to work with that kind of stuff. I don't want to make a career out of it. And I don't want to build a diorama because it's like, but it's just like, oh my God. So I do love setting up bits. You're right. I just did one here, in fact. Anyway, I'm going to watch this, I hope. Hazure skill. Kinomi master. Skill no mi tabetaru shinu o mugen ni taberareru yo ni natta ken ni tsuite. I don't... Oh, this. I was just looking at this and I was like, why this? Whatever. In a world where eating skill fruits grants special powers, Light, a boy who seeks to become the world's greatest adventurer, obtains their skill, a bogus skill specializing in fruit cultivation that is completely useless in combat. Eating a second skill fruit results in death, so there are no do-overs. Meanwhile, his childhood friend Reina, from another show further up there, who promised to become an adventurer with him, achieves S rank in record time, and the gap between them widens. Light spends his day farming and training with a sword, but one day he accidentally eats a second skill fruit. Why am I not dying? Light avoids certain death and learns the incredible true power of the skill. He can eat as many skill fruits as he wants. His overpowered ability allows him to gain an ability every time he eats one for an unlimited amount of times. The worst skill ever is actually the best skill ever? Bang, bang, 1, bang, 1, question mark, bang, bang, 1, ask for the bottom text, bottom text, bottom text. I think it's funny because I just want this to be, now he's on a quest to eat every single fucking fruit, not do anything with the skills, but just get them all. Like it's Pokemon for eating fruit. I just want that. Margie just says, I would have loved a show about being a vital part of keeping the society going by cultivating the skill fruits needed. Sadly, this isn't that show. Yeah. Doesn't have to go on a quest. He grows them himself. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. I just like the idea of I'm just gonna eat fruit. Just want to eat the whole thing all the time. Gekyoru. I'd love the twist. The skill lets him eat more than one, but there's still a limit, and he learns it one fruit too late. Maybe that's how the show ends. That's how the manga should end. Is this a manga? Other. It's an other is what it is. It's not even original. It's just other. Where'd you find this? Dude wrote it on a napkin at a bar, gave it to me. He said, I got a winner for you. It's like, so that's why we're making this? It's like, yeah. I lost a bet. So he said, this will do. You're going to make this. I'm like, okay. Or I'm going to take your kneecaps. Was this guy a bad guy? I don't know. He just said he wanted my kneecaps. Honey Lemon Soda. There's a live action of this, and the dude's hair is the same color. The same color. Go to the TVDB if you doubt me. Look up Honey Lemon Soda. Look at the anime cover and look at the live action. Same color. It's unnatural. In middle school, Uka Ishimori was nicknamed Stone. In order to change herself, she enrolled in Hachimitsu High School, known for its culture of student liberty. Seated in at the desk next to her, in the same class, probably in the protagonist spot, is Kai Miura, a coolly freewheeling boy with lemon-colored hair. In truth, does the curtains match the carpets? I don't know. We'll have to find out. In truth, Uka met Kai once in middle school and decided to attend Hachimitsu based on a single word he said to her. Also, Hachimitsu means honey. Let's see. To Uka, the popular Kai is a distant presence, yet somehow Kai starts to look after Uka. With Kai encouraging her, Uka gradually begins to fit in with her classmates, but Uka's world is gradually changed with Kai's presence. Now I am in the center of the endlessly spreading light. Yeah. Another romantic comedy this season. Doesn't even have the comedy tag, Pat. It's just romance, they say. Okay, well we're gonna give it a test. We'll see how it goes down. Based on a manga. You know what I want more of? Skip and Loafer. Yes, thank you, Travelogue. Skip and Loafer is getting a second season, just not this not this season. But yeah, they are getting a second season. I'm so excited. Heather's looking forward to it too. Yeah, pretty damn good. All right. Excuse me. Mm-hmm. Ishida, second season. Didn't watch the first. Some big people and some tiny people. Izure Saikyo no Renkinjutsushi is the order of bunny alchemist. Not even a hero, Takumi Iruma gets accidentally mixed in with a group of heroes. A lot of lady heroes in that. Mixed in with a group of heroes chosen to be summoned to another world. Oh, they aren't the ones. Okay. As compensation for the mix-up, a goddess offers him the right to choose any skill he wishes for but not send him back to his planet, because why would I do anything good for you? Hoping for a peaceful and quiet life. Actually, that's a fucking premise. Guy gets summoned to another world. Goddess says, give you whatever you want. He's like, send me back? And she's like, you're no fun, and sends him back. And then he has to live with the fact that he knew there was another world out there, that isekai shit is real. It's like all the stuff he's been reading is like, oh my God, that could actually happen. But now I don't get to participate. But I can't convince anybody here that it is real stuff. And then I keep trying to do things to prove to people that it's real. Like Uncle from Another World, at least he comes back and he proves right away that it's another world. He can do that. And I love Isekai Oji-san. Uncle from Another World is really good for that kind of thing. It's really bad at, we need to just keep telling the story of the old world. And I'm like, give me more of what's going on in this world. I'd like to see some of that too. But no, we're going to do an incredibly long arc about you fighting a 8-headed Hydra and all these people showing up and all this like power creep and all this other shit. And I'm like, it'd be great if you just didn't give a shit about that. I would love that. But anyway. But yeah, just a guy trying to convince everybody that this is real. And finally he meets another person that has also, the Isekai Rejects Club. Another person who's been rejected from another world or something. It's like, I believe you, man. And it's like, yes, my world was like this. It's like, oh, mine was like, okay, well, whatever. You know, it's probably true. And then maybe they don't trust each other. But anyway. Where were we? Hoping for a peaceful and quiet life that has nothing to do with fighting or going into battle. He chooses a seemingly boring creation skill. However, it turns out that alchemy is the most powerful skill that allows him to create everything from a holy sword to flying ships. This cheat skill he unexpectedly acquired turns him into a wealthy merchant, Makes them undefeatable in battles. Fuck. And heartwarming adventure story about possibly the most powerful alchemist in the world. You were so close. You were so close. This would have been interesting, right? Like, at least that's the thing about Realist Hero. I will give you this thing, right? In Realist Hero, I think that guy can die. Like, I think he's in danger. He's surrounded by people who are going to keep him from dying. But I think that if someone wanted to try to stab him, he'd have no idea how to deal with it. This stuff makes me so mad. Anyway. So, yeah. Wealthy merchant. I'm like, that's fine. I could understand you being that kind of dude. And then realizing it's like, maybe you become a wealthy merchant awfully fast. And you're like, now what do I do? It's like, I don't know. I mean, I guess you surround yourself with women, but it's like, but what if then you wanted to do other things? What if you wanted to travel the world or do other, like, God, Seventh Time Loop was really interesting for that too. Of this, woman lives all these lives, learns a bunch of stuff and is like, no, I have to end up keep reliving the same life over and over. And I kind of like that idea of like, I live 7 lives, short lives, but I keep coming back to the inflection point. Anyway, I don't think I'm going to read this. I'm sure or watch this. I'm sure it is fun though. I mean, it says it's heartwarming, so it must be fun and enjoyable. Jibaku Shonen Hanako-kun 2, second season of Hanako-kun. I believe that already happened last time, or maybe it got delayed to now, but anyway, moving on. Kimi no koto ga dai daisuki na hyakunin no kanojo, second season. Hey, everybody, I know that you told me this is really good and you should watch it because it breaks the tropes. It explores outside of the things. It does all. But I watched an episode of it. I think I might have watched the second episode. I can't remember. And I still bounce off it. So you didn't do your job wrong because you got me to watch an episode. I don't think it's for me. But I respect the fact that so many of you like this. Please continue to enjoy it. Kimi to Idol Precure? La. The main character, Sakura Uta, is a second-year middle school student who loves to sing. Oh, Chunibyo, okay. One day, she meets the fairy Purirun that has come to search for the legendary protector's idol Precure. Purirun's hometown, Kiraki Land, has been plunged into total darkness. I don't even know why I'm reading this, because it's Precure. It's Precure. That's what it is. Plunged into total darkness by Darkeen, the boss, I'm going to say Darkeen, the boss of the Chokiri gang. Meanwhile, the sparkles of the town people are being stolen by the Chokiri gang. It's a huge pinch. I want to make it sparkle sparkly. What the fuck did I just say? Here is my song. Ori no Tokike! With this determination, Uta transforms into the legendary protector, Cure Idol. She sings, dances, gives fan service. Fuck, we've come a long way since the 90s, making it sparkle no matter how pitch black it is. There's only one Precure idol in this? That doesn't make sense. There's supposed to be like 2 at least, right? That's the idea. Oh, whatever. More Precure. There will be 2 more. Thank you, Jolly G. The second season of Kinnikuman Kanpeki Chojin Shishohen, as you can see. Not a Kinnikuman fan. Kisaki Kyoiku Kara Nigetai Watashi. I guess this got delayed? No. We didn't talk about this last season. Right. I talked about this to Heather because I was like, I don't know what to do about this. I don't know. It's a light novel. I don't know what we're going to do. Yes, Brownie points. There is a new Kinnikuman. Letitia Dorman, daughter of a duke, always a daughter of a duke, is less than thrilled to be engaged to a crown prince. Always a crown prince. Always a crown prince. Betrothed since childhood and trained to be queen. She also hoped Prince Clark would fall for someone else one day. So when he shows up at a ball with another woman, Letty fucking overreacts. It's like, oh my God, he showed up with like this other woman. They must be dating. Couldn't possibly be like a friend or a cousin or some sort of half sister or like his mom. Just like, oh shit, with another woman, awesome. She strips off her clothing, puts on work coveralls, retreats to the countryside to start her new slow life. Gonna be a slow life, probably gonna be a slow life. Doesn't say that. It's gonna be slow though, very slow in the countryside. Only for Clark to appear, determined to correct her misunderstanding about what the fuck was actually going on. So, I'm fine with this. Like, the idea of, no, wait, hey, no, wait, shit, come back. No, come on. Come on, no, don't. What's the bet? Farming or baking? Farming. Farming. A1. It's going to be farming. I'm putting my chips on that. So yeah, I don't know. I'm unsure because I like this idea of there's no Otome game presence thing here. She isn't a villainess. There aren't all these things that are interfering. It feels like this is just true, honest, let's do a romance, let's have this play out. And I don't know. Like, I'm 50-50 on this. It airs in 12 hours. I have a choice of whether I want to watch it or not. It says light novel, so then I'm kind of like, I don't know, but there has been some light novel stuff I've watched where I've been like, okay, it might work. And I'm just like, all right, well, maybe. It is just hard maybe for me. And maybe I should just put that in the thing. Just be like, hard maybe. We'll see. Kono kaisha ni tsuki na hito ga imasu. Yui Mitsuya and Masugu Tateishi aren't just co-workers, they totally have the hots for each other. His helpful yet humble attitude makes her giddy and her cuteness leaves him grinning like a fool. Problem is they're trying to keep their new relationship under wraps to avoid making things awkward at work. But seeing how they can't keep their hands off each other, they run the risk of spilling their little secret with each passing day at the office. Yeah, I'm going to watch this. Modern office romance thing. Adults probably acting like kids, trying to keep it on the DL. Yeah, be fun. We'll see what happens. I'm for it. Yeah, just a plain old workplace romance. How refreshing, right, Doodles? Kuroi wa medaka ni watashi no kawaii ga tsujinai. Gorgeous from head to toe, the perfect figure to kawaii mona. Winning hearts come as naturally as breathing, but the arrival of Kuroi wa medaka, which I believe is a new transfer student, scrub brush head there, who won't even give her a second look, turns her school life upside down. She lived her whole life being fawned over, so why is he any different? He might be gay. Mona tries everything she can think of to win Medaka over, even getting a bit extreme at times. This new rom-com starring a queen bee and a celibate boy is about to burst onto the scene. He might be asexual. That would be interesting, actually. I mean, that'd be really funny if instead of celibate, if that said asexual. That'd be like, wow. Or just aro, maybe, just aromantic. That would be interesting. There are a lot of romantic comedies this season, ... Yes, Pat. Here's another one. It's ecchi as well. Ecchi with the main female character. So we're going to be seeing inside her head a lot. Reminds me of Bigata HK, the B cup hentai girl. Oh, this is one where he's a monk in training. All right, well, whatever. This is I liked that one because I like any of the series where they're like, we're gonna take a piece of like high school sexuality, like things that people are thinking about and focusing on in high school, and we're gonna turn that into like a comedy show to kind of show the ridiculousness, but also give it some pathos and relatability. God, I was looking for stuff to watch, and I've been in a Bill Hader kick and whatnot, and I saw that he was in a movie called The To-Do List, and it stars Aubrey Plaza, and I was like, oh, well, I like her. She's awesome. And I read the synopsis, and I'm like, what is this show going to be about? And so it's about this girl who is a total stick in the mud in high school, that kind of, it's very like prim and proper, that thing. She's a nerd. And during the summer, she's about to go to college, and she somehow gets it in her head that because it's like, you're going to have sex in college. That's what's going to happen. You're going to find a boyfriend and have sex in college. And therefore, Also, you'll probably just be bad at it because you won't know what you're doing. And she was like, oh, that's no good. Wait, does everybody already know how to do this? And I don't? Well, let me adapt my very feminist, straightforward attitude. I'm going to make a list of all the sex things I've ever heard of that I have no idea what these are. And then I'm going to make a spreadsheet of this in my Trapper Keeper, and I'm going to just find boys to do these things with, so that then I will know what they are, and then I will have gotten through all this and basically just made it a to-do list of stuff to do. And it's very raunchy and very lewd, and there's no nudity, but it's kind of surprising because like you'd think that it'd be easy, obviously, because it's like, oh, a girl wants to have sex with a high school boy. And the high school boy is like, absolutely. And that's fine. Except that, like, all of these boys are like, fuck, we got to get in on this because she's doing this to-do list. Here she's doing to-do list. And I'm just like, wow, there's so much going on. And it's weird because, like, it is very much she's in charge of everything she's doing, and she has her things that she wants to meet. And I'm like, I've never seen a screwball sex comedy, like high school sex comedy thing that's like that before, where, because all the boys are always out to get laid and the girls are always like, they don't know how to deal with the girls. And it's like, this is a girl who's out to get laid, and kind of like ramping it up over and over. She's like the end point, the gold star on the list is the really hot boy in school that I didn't know anything about until I saw him for the first time playing guitar at a party. And I was like, oh, yes. I saw him and he has abs. I found out he has abs. And I'm like, yes, that is the boy I want to take my virginity. And so I have to do all these other things first, and then he can take my virginity, and then that will be perfect. And it's like, I think it's very funny. And the fact that, like, there are so many people you recognize in it, like Donald Glover's in it as a high school boy, Christopher Mintz-Plasse is in it as a high school boy, Bill Hader plays like a 30-year-old, he's the 30-year-old drunk dude who looks after the, maybe not 30, maybe he's like in his mid-20s, but he looks after the local pool where she goes to work as a lifeguard, and he's not a target, which I think is even more endearing because he kind of plays like this mentor to her, has no idea she's doing the to-do list, but he's trying to like, oh, you should loosen up more. You should relax. You're more to life than just studying, kind of thing. And yeah, it's funny. It was a good movie. I liked it. It wasn't a great movie. It was a good movie. So the to-do list. Anyway, this reminded me of that. Just the idea of like a girl who has decided, she's like, I'm going to take control of my love life. I want things to be this way. And I actually don't know what I'm up against. I don't know how difficult it's going to be to make things happen for me. So just kind of reminded me of the same thing. I don't know if I want to watch this, though. I'm not really, like, the more I talk about it, I think it's like, I'm like, this could be interesting, but just something about this attitude where I'm like, that's all this is just a boy who's playing hard to get. And I'm like, I think if it's as simple as that, I was just like, I don't know. It just feels like too simple of a premise, and I maybe want more to that, or maybe want more of a complication. And if it's the idea is that he's a monk, I wish they would have put that in the synopsis, because I think that is very interesting. All right, here we go. We got it. So, we're getting a second season of The Apothecary Diaries, Kusuriya no Hitorigoto. Mao Mao and Jinshi face palace intrigue as a pregnant concubine safety and a looming conspiracy collide. Yes, absolutely. I'm very, very looking forward to watching this. 5 days I have to wait still. My God. I hope they do even more of it. There's 2 manga, so because it's based on a light novel series, and this is based on the one manga that's just Kusuriya no Hitorigoto. The other manga is like Kusuriya no Hitorigoto, Mao Mao's Observation Diary, or something along that line, drawn by 2 different artists. And I've been appreciating the fact that the people are getting to translate the other one, where she's drawn to be a little skinnier, thinner, older. It's a very different look to her because she's a lot cuter in this than she is in the other one, and I don't know really what the if there's a difference or not. But I like them both. Just everyone's drawn like a lot thinner and a little more gaunt, not by a lot, but they're still very good. And but they seem a little older, which is also kind of nice. And yeah, in the new manga, they finally just got to there's a conspiracy plot that does with a trip out of the palace. It's like a summer trip or whatever. They finally just got to that point, and I've already read that in the previous manga, so getting to read it in the new one and seeing how they handle it is also interesting because it means the manga picks and chooses elements of the light novels to write into the dialogue and into the proceedings. So by reading both of the manga, I'm getting slightly different pieces of this of what gets related and what doesn't. But what's been frustrating is that this other manga, they didn't call him Jinshi for the longest time. They called him Renshi. And some of the other characters also had unusual names compared to like the first manga and also then of course to this series. And I have no idea what the actual if they called him Renshi because that's an alternate reading. But in the anime they call him Jinshi, and in this manga they call him Jinshi, and I'm like, I have no idea how it's written in the actual light novels. But they just recently in this other manga, the Scanlators have started calling him Jinshi now, just kind of out of nowhere, and I'm like, okay, that either that is because that is actually how his name is supposed to be spelled or read or whatever. And finally, these people were like, we have to change the translation of the names to match the more popular version. And I don't know what it's actually supposed to be. Or maybe they're like, oh, shit, we were getting it wrong the entire time. We didn't know which one was supposed to be. We picked wrong, so we're going to pick what the correct one is. I'm not really sure. I'm just glad we're getting more of this. Moving on. Magic Maker, Isekai Maho no Tsukurikata. On the night of his 30th birthday, one man's dreams of wielding magic come true after he unexpectedly passes away. He wakes as Shion, a young child in another world. He and his elder sister, Marie, are the children of a lower-class noble family who govern their region. Right. After receiving conflicting messages from their father, Shion and Marie set out on an adventure to uncover the magic. Adventure, story, could be fun. I'm not that interested in it, but, moving on. Mahotsukai no Yakusoku, Magician's Promise? Did I get that right? On a moonlit night, Akira Masaki finds herself in a magical world where wizards and humans coexist. Every year, they must face an enormous deadly moon on Walpurgis Night that attacks the planet. Their only hope lies with the Wizards of the Sage. Wizards of the Sage. Appointed to fight the supernatural threat, but Akira soon discovers she wasn't summoned by chance. She was chosen to lead them in battle. I'm not interested. It's a video game, so Promise of Wizard. I am not interested. Mahotsukai Precure Mirai Days. So Precure's getting a sequel and also a new series. Okay. One of the anime projects to commemorate the 20th anniversary of the Precure franchise. This will be a direct sequel of Mahotsukai Precure aimed for grown-up fans of the anime. Oh, what a cool idea. Either maybe the girls will be grown up, maybe they're having adult relationships, right? They're 20 years old, they're going to school, they're still Precure or whatever, but yeah, interesting. Time skip sequel to a season from over a decade ago. Oh, I see. Cast of Maho girls as adults. It's in college. Nice. Mashin Souzouden Wataru. A new entry in the Mashin Eiyuden Wataru series. I don't, so I won't, and I don't. Moving. I mean, you can tell immediately that it's a kid's thing. He has amazing. He's just got a diamond, a square in his head. Medalist. Psychological sports drama. Tsukasa, whose dreams were crushed. Inori, left to defend for herself. These two share a dream, and their tenacity may be the only thing that sees them through. Their destination? The ice on the world stage! The foreshortening is amazing. Anyway. I am saying no. It might be great. I'm just not interested. Momentary Lily. I was momentarily interested in this, and then I saw it was Gohan's, and I'm like, well, it better be really good, because I don't know. I mean, I don't mind seeing the growth of a new studio to see like how they keep undergoing different whatevers, but and I've heard that apparently that the animation in this is way less nausea-inducing for people. The trailer is so Gohan's awesome. The robotic invaders wiped out all life, but Renge fights to survive using her powers. Okay, very generic, but you know, they don't tell us what the powers are. That's okay. With no memories, she roams the city until she meets 5 other young women, each with unique abilities, and they fight. Together, they make the most of their lives, cooking delicious meals between battles with mechanical monstrosities as they uncover the secrets of their powers and pasts. They find strength in their friendship, that should say, and food, I hope, because if the idea is you're calling this out, action cooking, is that what this is? I don't know. There's no Yuri tag. I have heard people say, oh yeah, it's all about the subtext. It's like Yuri subtext is only useful if it leads to Yuri butt sex. Moving on. Nihon e yokoso Elf-san. Welcome to Japan, Elf-san. Ms. Elf is intrigued by Japanese culture. Working adult Kitase Kazuhiro's hobby is sleeping. Ever since he was a child, he had exciting adventures in the mysterious other world he dreams about. One day, while exploring ancient ruins with his elf girlfriend, or with an elf girl he befriended, he's unfortunately burned by the breath of a magic dragon he encounters. When he awakens from his dream, an elf girl who shouldn't be in his room is sleeping next to him. So, Gekyoru says they're behind on the manga. I believe I'm caught up to what's been scanlated. This is interesting in that this is what I think it is, because I'm reading the manga, not the light novel. Every time he goes to sleep, he ends up in the other world. And every time he goes to sleep in the other world, he wakes up back same day, right? So when he's done being awake in that world and he goes to sleep, he wakes up completely rested, I believe, I think, I'm not sure, in Japan. Now, she likes this because it means that she comes back to the world with him. And I was like, oh, this will be cool because it'll be a bit of adventuring in the whatever. But then they come back and they'll spend a few chapters, you know, sightseeing and her getting used to what life is like over here. The problem is, right, if he dies, he just wakes up in Japan. The problem is, I think it's kind of immediately obvious. Take this idea and make it in your country where you live. And publish it for the people who live in your country. Now ask yourself, how interested do you think the people living in your country are going to be about reading a tourist manga set in your country where the main character is an elf from a different place, where you're just exposing them to cool, interesting cultural things about your place? They'll probably not be that interested, and they'll probably have to change the focus of the story to be, yeah, we're here for a chapter, but now let's just go back there and let's have exciting adventures. Yeah, I think that's what's going on here, because I feel like I've read about 15, 16 chapters worth of this. I feel like I've read at least like a lot of chapters of the manga worth of this that is only focused on what is happening in the other world. And it feels like completely forgetting about the fact that, oh, remember, when you die or when you go to sleep or whatever, you wake up in the other country. Now, I'm seeing people saying, like, you know, there are a lot of TV shows on PBS or whatnot, but also Yudokamp is definitely like, you know, it's touristy, very focused touristy. It's so, shows like that can be very granular though. And they're about like, let's show you what fun camping is by taking a bike trip. They're about scenery and they're about all those kind of things. I'm like, those shows exist and people do watch them and they can be very, very popular. Absolutely. But they don't need the twist of an elf needs to show up in your world and then you take her camping. The closest we've had to that is, what is it called? My wife is a knight from another world and now she helps me farm. And then I got her pregnant, and then her brother and the mage who likes her brother shows up in the real world, and we have to go to hospitals to get scanned to make sure that our magic powers don't affect the soil that we are farming. Thank you. Farming Nightwife might be a good way to refer to it. Yeah. So, um, there are two manga adaptations of that. But yeah, it's oh yeah, all my neighbors are convinced the female knight for my rice field is my wife. Um, I think that's the one I'm talking about. Shit, who knows? Let's just have a look. Maybe there are even more. Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. She doesn't do. All right, let's keep going. Actually, just I'm not going to focus on what I was just talking about. It doesn't matter. We had our second break. That's what's important. Odd cut, but we can keep rolling here. Okinawa de tsuki ni natta ko ga hogen sugite tsuru tsugiru. I, Teruaki Nakamura, transferred to a school in Okinawa and developed a crush on a girl named Kian-san. That's her there. But I don't understand her dialect. Higa-san, that's her there, is always helping me by translating the dialect. A slightly different cultural love starts in the southern island. So, I'm reading the manga for this. It is, I like it. I think it's very cute. I hope that I haven't actually watched the first episode of this yet. What I like about the manga, I mean, well, so my hope is, I should stop saying hope. Heather and I are going to Japan this year. We are going to take a trip and do that. And we are going to Okinawa. And I'm going to spend about a week there, roughly, because I really want to do that. And my previous plan was to do, the next time we were going was to do Okinawa for a bit and then Hokkaido for a bit. And in fact, what I wanted to do was do it during like the late fall or like really like midwinter kind of idea. That's not when we're going. Because I wanted to go to Hokkaido for snow. I'm like, if we're going to do this, we're going to go for snow. I want to go to like Sapporo Snow Festival, like those kind of things. I want to do like the stuff you would literally do over there. Because we did Japan in December, and we did Tokyo to Morioka, that's just past Sendai, and they had snow. Oh, they had snow. And then we come back down to Tokyo, and they have no snow. It was nice out and everything. And then we went across to like Osaka and Hiroshima, and there's no snow, and Kyoto, and there's no snow, that kind of thing. It's like, so it was nice to be able to see this is what it's like when it snows in Japan, and in the middle of nowhere, because we went outside of Morioka to like even a smaller town, to Hachimantai. And I had a great time out there, and it was great being in the hot springs and having the snow fall on you. And it's just like, this is really cool. My parents, I'm a bit bougie. My parents owned a hot tub, and we lived in St. Albert, Alberta, which is next to Edmonton. And so they wanted a hot tub. And one of the nicest things to do is to go out when it's absolutely freezing cold out, when it's like minus 15, and take the top of the hot tub off and get in and sit when it's snowing and maybe the northern lights are up, and like the beautiful moments of, even in the middle of like a suburb, there's still, you can still see stuff going on. It's like, this is just really nice and relaxing and fun. And so, yeah, I wanted to like, I like doing that kind of thing where I'm like, I'm warm, but it's snowing. So that's great. But yeah, so when it comes to this, it's like, this is kind of one half I've never experienced of Japan, was the really like Okinawa, which is also a separate place. Like it really is, because it has such heavy American influence for the last 50 years, 60 years. And it was also, these people were never Japanese to begin with, but they were brought into Japan. So they have their own dialect. And like, I've always found this just really interesting. And I just saw Pat's comment go by being like, if you don't understand Japanese, you probably have a hard time understanding this. And I don't understand Japanese terribly well, just a little bit. And I'm like, I know this might be a hard row to hoe, but I do want to see it. I love that it is the manga is very much about, we want to help you enjoy this place because you come from Tokyo and you live here now. And now you got to get to know what this place is like. You're going to get to know it through the language as well. And it's kind of cute that he kind of half understands the girl that he thinks is super cute, and that the other girl is like, she has a crush on him, and she starts helping him understand the Okinawa dialect. And I was like, okay, that's cool. And I think she wishes that he was interested in her, but he's actually interested in her, and she's completely oblivious to it. And I think it's cute, so I'm going to enjoy it. So it's just tough to follow as an anime. I bet it is. Oredake Level Up Na Ken Season 2, Arise from the Arise, from the Shadow. Yeah, second season of solo leveling. There you go. S rank monster no behemoth dakedo neko to machigawareta elf musume no pet to shite kurashitemasu. Boobies. Boobies. Oh, no, less booby. Boobies. Boobies. Scary monster. Cat. Other things down here probably that I can't see. Maybe butts probably. Maybe there are butts. So, nobody asked to be a cat. After dying in a fight against the forces of evil, a knight is shocked to discover that instead of being reborn as a hero of humanity, he starts his new life as a behemoth, one of the most powerful monsters in the world. The only problem is that a baby behemoth looks an awful lot like an adorable house cat. Things grow even more confusing when a beautiful elf adventurer rescues him from the brink of death rather than finishing him off. This house cat / knight's baffling journey is just getting started. I mean, I like the idea of, this house cat that has all this power. It's just Garfield. Maybe, sure, why not? This is like Garfield Isekai. But I'm not interested in watching it, so. Salaryman ga isekai ni ittara shiten no ni natta hanashi. In an alternate fantasy world, the Demon King reigns with a formidable army led by his 4 heavenly kings. One happens to be Uchimura Dennosuke. There should be an extra N there, I think, but Uchimura Dennosuke. A normal salaryman unexpectedly plucked from his mundane life by the Demon King himself, but even in this new realm, Uchimura is bestowed no particular powers. Can he survive treacherous missions? Can he survive treacherous missions with only the knowledge of an office worker? Watched the first episode. Pat, I thought it was fun too. I don't know about the rest of the show or not. I definitely find it weird that it looks like main love interest here. She's a demon. The cat girl is a demi-human. Oh, the fuck this is. It's somebody in a suit. But I like it's like, okay, I don't know how we're supposed to read this because she seems like she gets a little impressed with him. They're all on equal footing because they're all the 4 heavenly kings. But she's constantly blushing. So it is impossible to tell whether she's attracted to him and is all tsundere about him or something else has happened. She's just constantly blushing. And I'm like, yeah, you read. And then the ending sequence is just nothing but her laying around, like moving on things. And then eventually just put her in like a white dress anyway. And she's in like a white, like a pretty white sundress kind of thing or party dress. I don't know what you call it. A maiden's dress. She's in a maiden's dress that's like cut to her knee length or whatever. And she's kind of just moving around and shit. And I'm like, come on. Like, I get it. You are the biggest thing on the cover of all the manga. And if that, like, I could put money on that. Yeah. So they all have titles as well. The one thing I did think was funny is that he's Uchimura Dennosuke, the overseas manager, and they didn't have anybody in the water position. And I'm like, oh, water, overseas manager. That's why. Okay. Feud, whatever. So I'm like, it just feels like it's gonna be like all like, oh, I like him, but I don't want to like him, and I don't know why I like him because why should I like him? And I don't know if there's gonna be because that's not the point of the story. So that's what her character will get reduced to. So whatever. But first episode was fun. I'm gonna watch the next few episodes and see how it goes. I'm interested to see how his kind of resourcefulness and like talking to other people and negotiations and how that will all relate, because they make that a big point in the first episode that he has these office management soft skills that are things that nobody else in the Demon King's army has, and the Demon King recognizes, no, these are important skills. None of you have these. This is why I want this guy. But he won't just come right out and say all that. He's like, no, we will test him, and you will see why my I'm like, you're the Demon King. You don't have to test shit. So it's not bad. I like it all right. We'll see what happens. Sentai Red Isekai de Boukensha Ninaru. I think this is a neat idea. Asagaki Togo was the Red Ranger in a heroic ranger squad. During their final battle against the ultimate evil organization, he suffers a crushing defeat and resigns himself to death. That is, until he finds himself reborn in an entirely different world. I'm assuming the crushing defeat was by a truck. Embracing his new role as an adventurer, he transforms into Kizuna Red and continues his pursuit of justice, helping those in need. Enjoy this heroic tale of a ranger becoming the protector of another world. I think, like, I need this to not suck. I love the manga so much. Okay, that's kind of cool. Like, there's people in here who like this. Okay, I'm going to put this in maybe watching, and we'll think about that. The reason why I wasn't into this idea is because getting a little spun out on isekai fantasies. But, I mean, he actually is the Red Ranger, so he's going to actually have some ability that's from that. So that's fine. So he wasn't like a hero actor. He's actually is the real guy. But then that just means that it's mashing up the two genres of what does it feels like a hat in a hat. Thank you, Kentosaurus. That's what it feels like. It's like, but what if we took this and we mushed it with this? At this point, that's what we have to do to get new series, it seems, is that you have to be like, but what if I took this thing and we pushed it together with this other thing and then we added some cooking? And like, I'm like, yeah, it's still going to be like, it's all about execution at that point. So I'll put it on maybe watching and we'll see where things go from there. It's funny because it's like, I think of Konosuba. Because I watched the first episode of Konosuba and I was kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, all right. I mean, his thing, I'm a great thief. I'm going to show you by stealing everyone's panties. And I'm like, sigh. Okay, but I'll watch a little more of this. I'm this cute blonde knight, but I like to get fucking beat up. I like it in a way that is, a lot. And I'm like, I won't yuck your yum, but really, that's what we're gonna. I'm like, why is the most intriguing part of Konosuba Explosion Mage, right? She was great. And I dropped Konosuba because I was just like, I don't know if I can deal with that trope over and over. And yet I have seen that things have happened in Konosuba that get really involved because it's 3 seasons, right? And there's manga and whatever. And I'm like, oh, well, now I'm finding out there's other stuff that happens later on that are like, oh, this is cute or, whatever. And fine, So I can't always trust like an initial read on stuff anyway. For me, I'm not going to go back and watch Konosuba. I don't think in any case. I'm not trying to liken that to this, but it is when you start jamming a whole bunch of stuff in, it is all about like what you're willing to take. So we'll move on. We'll see if I watch that. Soda Iro Utility. Hey, you like golf? Great. You like girls' love? Well, I mean, you like subtext? Might as well have that. At this rate, I'll just graduate as a plain background character A. Minami Aoba was troubled. She had no particular strengths or things she wanted to do. Is it okay for her high school life to end as such an ordinary supporting character? Yeah. This is a yes. You can, because you got college still, right? It's okay. Leaving school behind, Minami searches for her own special uniqueness. She stumbles upon the nearby golf practice range by chance. Approached by part-time worker Haruka Akane, Minami grasps the golf club, the utility. I'm assuming the wedge is what they mean by this. I don't know. And thus it was the encounter between Minami and golf. Winning is not the only thing in golf. Everything related to golf is enjoyable. Now, thank you for that. Together with the genius golfer Haruka and Ayaka Hoshimi, who aspires to be an influencer, they seek the moment when they can become the protagonist. As a super beginner, Minami swings her club once again today. Yeah, her friend is pushing her to find a hobby and wins golf. The friend says, no, not that. Cool. I'm not. I don't know. When I saw the PV, a bit of it, and I've seen like GIFs of like, oh, and then the girl comes behind the other girl to show her to swing properly. And all the people in the Yuri Manga Discord are like, this ain't it, is it? And people are like, yeah, this ain't it. No, it seems like it, but it ain't gonna be it. And I'm like, oh, okay, so it's business Yuri, or is it just subtext, or is it like whatever? I'm like, all right, well, sure. Oh, it started as an OVA that came out before Birdie Wing, so that's why they're getting a series, is because people started watching the Two Girls in Golf show. All right, I'm not interested. I don't give a fuck about golf. Sosei no Aquarian, Myth of Emotions. I'm not going to read this because I haven't watched Aquarian. I believe this is the same Aquarian series. It just feels like more stuff. Also, everyone's real weird model looking. If that's how they all look, but with the mechs like this, what a strange combination. So we'll move on. Unite up! Uni, birth. Have 2 colons. Everybody has 1. Why not have 2? The second season of Unite Up Proto Stars journey continues as they face rivals and challenges starting to shatter the competitive world. If you're watching it, you love it. Unnamed Memory Act 2, the second season of Unnamed Memory. Didn't watch the first one. Seeking to end a curse thwarting his lineage, Prince Oscar sets out on a quest that leads into a powerful and beautiful witch, Tinasha, and he demands a unique bargain, marriage. Though enthused by the proposal, she agrees to stay in his castle for a year while researching the spell cast upon him. Beneath her booty lies a lifetime of dark secrets that soon come to light. Please enjoy it. I don't think I watched it. Watashi no Shiawase na Kekkon, second season. This is My Happy Marriage. My Happy Marriage, which is on Netflix. The second season, Mio and Kyoka's love will be put to the test as trouble looms over them, which is not really what I want, but will they achieve the future they dream of? The 13th episode that came out recently kind of alleges that they are going to do that. But yeah, the first season does end in a weird spot, as Rather Large Toad puts out. It's odd. We watched it and liked it well enough. I'd like to know a little bit more about what the mysterious things that are going on. It does definitely have the sense, though, of, you have the no power, so you are not powerful, and there's nothing or whatever. No, actually, turns out you have the power, and you have the power that is the most powerful. And it's like, oh, okay. The thing is, like, I didn't think this was supernatural. Like, in the end of the first episode, where all of a sudden it's like, also, I cast Fireball! And I'm like, fucking what? Like, this was not about any of that. And all of a sudden we're hunting, like, ghost demon things. I'm like, oh. So, yeah. I'm hoping we'll watch a little more of it. It's like, I'm not enthused about this show. I should just put down watching it, but it's like, I'm not enthused about it, but I am interested enough that I want to see more of it, and maybe we'll watch all of it, or maybe we won't. I don't really know. Moving on. Zenshu. After graduating from high school, Natsuko Hirose starts her career as a one-eyed animator. Her talent quickly flourishes, and she makes her debut as a director in no time. Is that how that works? Her first anime becomes a massive hit, sparking a social phenomenon. Oh, shit. And it was weird because it was like Suicide Circle. And earning her recognition as an up-and-coming genius director. Her next project is said to be a romantic comedy themed around first love. However, never having been in love herself, Natsuko struggles to understand the concept of first love. And as a result, she's unable to create the storyboard, causing the movie production to come to a standstill. Romantic comedy. Yes, I will just... I'm making shit up, Travelogue. If I'm inserting words into this, I'm probably just making shit up. So anyway, yeah, there's so much irony in having a series about an overworked animator being done by Mappa that you could melt it down and build a supercarrier. Jesus. Oh, you're talking about Happy Marriage, Travelogue. Okay, I see. Yeah, I don't know what this is about. I don't know if it's going to be any good. I put it on the maybe watching list. Watch a couple. We'll see how it is. I like shows about the industry because I feel that occasionally we get some real gems that point out how fucked up the industry actually is. There was the one about the two girls who are in high school together who are voice actresses that I was like, I liked that because it does give you some hints about how fucked up the whole thing can be. Shirobako was so good. And the idea that it's like, is this actually how it is? It's like, there's enough. You find out through like searching online and stuff. You have people being like, yeah, we don't want to go on the record, but that person is based on an actual person or on 3 people or like that kind of thing, to be like, yeah. And then Oshinoko, another thing of, the idol industry can be incredibly fucked up. And the whole entertainment industry can be a problem as well. There's more there than this is messaging. Is there King and Commoner? Okay, I will watch the trailer. I'll watch the first episode comes out in 13 hours. I will watch the first one. We'll see what happens. It says romantic comedy, so I'm assuming what this means is this person needs to fall in love, and she will attempt things. So Ubel Blatt. Rumors stir throughout the land when the wielder of the black sword draws his dark blade. All who stand in his path are torn asunder. Coinzel, the mysterious young boy who carries the black sword, undeniably wields it with exceptional skill. But can he truly be responsible for the bloody murders? Pursued by the traitorous lances, 4 powerful warriors who are thought to have been defeated by the 7 heroes. I'm already tired. The strength of the young swordsman will be tested to its limit. At the battle's end, only the shocking truth of Coinzel's quest will stand above the corpses of his enemies. An epic fantasy on the grandest of scales. Plus titties! All right, moving on. I don't know what any of that's about. Zero Saiji. Start Dash Monogatari Season 2. Didn't. Kankin Kuiki Level X. Sokuhen. Didn't. Yamishibai 14. Couldn't. Wouldn't. Amagami-san Chino Musubi is a leftover. As is Aono Miburo, as is Chikyu no Undo ni Tsuite, as is Kagaku Boken Survival, as is One Piece. Lots of leftovers. Rurouni Kenshin, Shangri-La Frontier, Tono to Inu, Tohai, and Trillion Game. All these leftovers. Getting to movies. Aldnoah Zero, Re-Plus. A movie compilation of the first and second cours of Aldnoah Zero, and also the new animation to conclude the series. Aldnoah Zero, Ame no Dansho. Binan Koko Chikyu Boe Bu Eternal Love. Wait, this is the Earth Defense Force boys, I think. Looks like it. Yeah. All right, they're doing a new film for the 10th anniversary. It's been 10 years. Wow. I don't know if I'll watch it. Doraemon Nobita no Isekai Monogatari. They go into a painting in a medieval European world. In the painting, they meet Claire and Mio, children from the country of Artoria, which I don't think is a real country. The powerful enemy, legendary jewel, whatever. Kaiju Hachigo compilation movie. I don't think I'll watch that. Make a Girl. Scientifically created girl number 0 or no 0 or whatever. I like the title. That's about all. Oshiri Tante, Butt Detective, Star and Moon. So Butt Detective. I'm not going to bother reading it. Sorry, I want to kind of just get through this. Project Sekai, Kawareta Sekai to Utainai Miku. Set in modern day Shibuya, Ichika Hoshino, her school girl and street musician, encounters an unknown version of Hatsune Miku after hearing a Miku song she's never heard in a CD store. Oh. Ichika learns that this version of Miku is having trouble reaching people with her songs, so together they team up to try to touch the hearts of their audience through music. PA works. Cute girls with cute jobs. Awesome. Yeah. I don't know. I know Heather likes Hatsune Miku. I could see us watching this. I'll just put it in the maybe list. Why not? We'll see what happens. Based on a video. Yeah, it's based on Project Sekai. Yeah. Senpai wa Otoko no Ko Ame no Chihare. Theatrical follow-up to the show. I didn't, so I won't. Shimajiro to Yuki no Uta. No, didn't watch any of whatever that is. Thunderbolt Fantasy, Toriken Yuki, Saishu Sho. Theatrical follow-up to Thunderbolt Fantasy, whatever. Aldnoah Zero, Ame no Dansho, that's the OVA we just mentioned. So the penultimate truth. More Ao Hako, yep. Kaiju Hachigo Hoshina no Kyujutsu, special episode of that, alongside the compilation movie. Didn't watch it. Konomi's Pretty Journey, this is that thing we mentioned once earlier before. Monpoke. I watched the PV for this, and all I can think is, that's all there is. But it's 10 episodes. The whole Monpoke thing is just this art style, I think, is the whole point of it. It's just very kind of reduced and cute and whatever. And watch the PV. It's like 2 minutes long. It tells you nothing about anything. Neat. Kunoichi to Nazeka Dose Hajimemashita. I didn't even see this previously. That's a lot of girls in things that do up to their neck. why that is. In order to protect an ordinary businessman, Tsukasa Atsumi, from demons, a genius Kunoichi, Shizuri Ideura, signs a master-servant contract with him. On the condition that she stays with him despite her cool appearance of defeating demons, Shizuri is an otaku NEET who spends all her time playing video games. While Shizuri is spoiled by Tsukasa and leads a lazy cohabitation life, the quirky Kunoichi gather together in a romantic comedy about living together with a genius Kunoichi who's an otaku and a NEET. Neat. All right. It's the NEET uniform, yes. Maybe because the Kunoichi also keep the thing around their neck. There's another one there. There's probably more. It's all ladies. This dude lives in a women's only facility. It's fine. Neko ni naritai Tamagawa-kun. For Tamagawa, volunteering at a cat cafe is the only relief from a stressful job. The manager tells him to relax and learn to be spoiled, but doesn't know what that means until new customer Shindo Rai comes to the cafe and tells Tamagawa he wants to keep him as a cat. Enter their strange but fateful relationship, a pure-hearted and soothing romantic comedy. There you go. Sakamoto Days. I was reading this, I dropped it, so I'm not going to watch it either. I'm sure their realization is going to be pretty damn good, but I'm not that interested. When Sakamoto meets Aoi, the convenience store clerk, it's love at first sight, and just like that, he retires. When Sakamoto gets married, has a daughter, opens a mom-and-pop store in a quiet town, and completely transforms into a plus-size man. That's him there. But at times, he will lose a ton of weight and be really thin briefly, and then put all of the weight back on, comedy-wise. To ensure a peaceful life with his beloved family, the legendary ex-hitman bands together with comrades to face off against the looming threat of assassins. I dropped this reasonably fast, and I'll tell you why. Because it became a floor fighter. And I was like, that's not what I thought this was going to be. I thought it was going to be a guy who was a hitman. He works in the store. This dude shows up and is like, oh, you're the legendary whatever. I want to work with you. He's like, great. Pick up an apron. You work at the store now. No, we're not doing hitman shit. This girl shows up and she's like, oh, you're legendary hitman. I want to work with you. Great. Pick up an apron. You work at the store now. I'm not doing hitman shit. And I was like, yeah, okay. I like this. It'll be weird. And there will be moments of people having to get hunted by hitmen and they'll do whatever. And then all of a sudden it's like, they stole this guy and took him to a secret facility, and we have to, and the bad guys who all wear sunglasses and black suits, and then it's like, okay, I guess the three of us will get our guns out and we'll buy a wife, take care of my child. We're gonna go fight a bunch of dudes and go through multiple floors of a building further and further down until we find the thing, and then we will free the MacGuffin, and we'll come back, and it's like, fuck. Why did it have to be that? You know, I'm like, I don't care. I don't give a shit about your secret societies or your whatever. I'm like, make it about the relationship that a retired hitman, and maybe he has two new people who want to be hitmen, and that him having to save them from taking, like, they take a stupid job, and then he just kind of like shows up out of nowhere and he like helps them out slightly and they finish their things. And it's like, have that happen from time to time, you know, like, or have something almost like something does happen in the store at one point. Like, that's interesting too, because that shouldn't happen. And I'm like, yeah, like, wait 100 chapters before you get into floor fighters, tournament anime, hitman style, whatever. It's like, I don't care about that. I'm reading J to M, which I'm very happy with. You want to do a hitman comedy, J to M, I think, is kind of really good. I think it's by the same person who did Hinamatsuri. It's just J arrow M, and it's about a hitman, self-made hard-boiled hitman who swaps bodies with an elementary school girl who is an A+ student, and she just wants to stay home all the time in his body, and he has to go live in her house, and her mom's an absolute demon driving her to like learn shit. And the adults make the dumbest decisions in the world and assume the dumbest things, which is what drives the comedy. It's very, very good, especially if you like Hinamatsuri. It's very, very funny for that. The faces are really good. The situations are really stupid. Anyway, Skinfinity extra part. Original video animation for Skinfinity. Skate the Infinity. Hey, great. That's all I had to read. Tasokare Hotel. Tasokare sounds like Tasogare, which is twilight. The Tasokare Hotel never sees afternoon nor does it see night, but rather exists in a state of endless twilight. This hotel exists in a limbo state is a place that allows souls who have not yet decided if they are meant to pass on to the afterlife or remain in the world of the living to rest their wings. The protagonist, Neko Tsukahara, comes across this Tasokare hotel with no memory of who she is or how she came to be there. An employee leads the way and shows Neko to her room, explaining, in these rooms, there should be items that are related to our guests' memories. These items can also serve as clues to help our guests remember who they were before they arrived here. As Neko searches for a way to return to this world and remember who she was, a certain incident confronts her, ... Watch the PV first. The PV, I think, will give you a really good idea of the tone. I was very interested in it until halfway through the PV, and I was like, oh, this might be a little too horror style for me in places. I don't know. And I don't think I'm that into watching it as a result. Based on a video game, I did not know that. So I might not pursue it. The Idolmaster Shining Color second season, shit. And that's it, actually. So really the last thing that is not from something else is this. And so what are we excited about this season? Apothecary Diaries. Like, I'm excited. I'm interested to see Villainous Genius Oji-san. The Makutako Doctor Detective is going to be, I think, kind of interesting too. Let's keep going through this. The girl reading on the island might be interesting, I hope. Honey Lemon Soda. Hope it's better than just a run-of-the-mill high school romance, but we'll see. We'll see about this. I don't know. We haven't committed to it. An actual workplace romantic comedy would be kind of nice. But, of course, Apothecary Diaries, second season. That's what I'm into. Let's keep going here. Was there anything else on the list? Just want to see how this is realized. I don't think I'm going to end up watching all of it. I am interested to see how this comes out, too. I think it'll be fun, especially as a lead-up to going to Japan to go to Okinawa in the first place. The Salaryman Isekai, I hope, is good, but we'll see. I will remember to put Sentai Red on my list. I hope I remember to put Sentai Red on my list. Second season of this. Maybe it turns into something good. Maybe Zenshu turns into something good as well. And then we have everything else that's on whatever. At the bottom, so somebody did say, hey, Tasokare Hotel sounds like Haibane Renmei. I think in tone, it really felt to me like it might be. I mean, it's like the color scheme feels reasonably similar. That was a lot of beiges and browns. I got to meet Yoshitoshi Abe at SakuraCon just after Haibane Renmei came out. And I did ask, could you make more? Because I was volunteering. I was down there as part of Anime Alberta, down at SakuraCon in Seattle, and so we had like ins to do stuff, and we got like press passes and whatever. And so I was in the press room helping to kind of like work the press room a bit because they didn't have anybody in there that was like welcoming people in and saying hi. And I was like, well, I don't have anything to ask, but I can hang out and just watch the interviews and stuff too, and just kind of provide like a controlling influence over the room in my 20s. And so he came in and sat down and did a whole interview. And I had, and near the end of it, because people weren't asking questions anymore. And I'm like, how the fuck can you not ask the guy who made Lane, like who came up with that idea, and like Haibane Renmei, and like all these, and like the questions are running out. And so I'm like, I have some questions and stuff. And it's like, because nobody's asking about Haibane Renmei. And I was just like, could you please do more of that? Like Nia Under 7, like that's great, like, and I said, but Haibane Renmei was fantastic, and do you have more? And he just was like, I have other ideas. I have other things I could do. Probably not in an anime. And I think he did an art book like around the same time. Like I think that was mostly what he was talking about. So, because I just wanted more, because I wanted more explanation of the world that it was in. And I'm like, man, if someday they decide to remake that and do it like, I don't think they have to remake it, but we get an up-res of it or something, or just like, a rescan of whatever there was. I don't think there is anything like that out there, but if they did a second season to kind of like expand upon the ideas just a little bit more and not make the world bigger, but make the town denser, like make it feel like there's more understanding of stuff that's going on there. I really would enjoy that. Lane I liked, but I took it in at an anime club and just kind of was letting it do this. And I think I missed a couple episodes too, and I was just like, yeah, I gotta maybe watch that again for real. But yeah. Anyway, that's it, folks. I'm gonna give you a couple minutes if you want to churn out some questions for me or whatever while we start to take everything down. But yeah, it's this is the season, and there were some good things, and really, Apothecary Diaries season 2 is what I'm here for. And then Heather and I are doing a rewatch of Natsume's Book of Friends, and that's been reasonably rewarding too, because it's like I know the broad strokes, but I forget all the episodes. But I think I forget the episodes because I think I was falling asleep during them then also. So yeah. APO Dionysus asks, Beej, I'm new to anime, watching FMA Brotherhood, and it rules. Awesome, great. What else should I watch? I mean, actually, I've been mentioning Apothecary Diaries. I think everybody in here would say, pick up season 1 of that and see if you like that. Like, it's been very, very good. People are always like, what are your top 10 hits? Like, what are the things you should be watching? And it's like, shit, that's hard, right? Like, you can always tell somebody, go watch Cowboy Bebop. It is fun and interesting, and it's good. It's going to be older, and I don't know what the Blu-ray upres or adaptation or whatever would be worth watching. And it also depends on the kind of stuff that you like to watch anyway in the first place, because like FMA Brotherhood is a more closer adaptation of what goes on in the manga. I've never watched it, but I've heard it's very, very good. If you like that kind of show, that you like the kind of like I'm struggling against some odds, but you like a more serious shonen show that's, I guess, probably more of like a older men, a seinen show or whatever. Christ. Big Judy Sem says, my go-to recommendation is Erased. Yeah, absolutely. But holy shit. Oh, and Juliamon says, you can give Ava a pass. Yes, you do not have to watch Neon Genesis Evangelion right now. Like, Evangelion is good. It's a turning point of stuff that happens in the industry, but there are a lot of turning points of stuff that happen in the industry. You do not have to watch Ava right now to be like, I need to see, like, no, don't watch the stuff that sounds good to you and then enjoy, the touchstones later, perhaps. Like, I've never seen all of Mazinger, but there's a few bits of it that I do want to watch just to be like a little more informed about what happened back in the day, right? And like Astro Boy and stuff again. But I like Blackjack, which is old Osamu Tezuka story about a doctor with the hands of God who was like driven out of the industry. So he's now he's a rogue doctor that takes millions of dollars to operate on people. And it's always ridiculous shit that he gets up to. It's not a comedy per se. It is more serious than not. But if you like a good doctor drama, Blackjack's like a good way to go for that. And there's dozens and dozens and dozens of episodes for it. So yeah, there's just a ton of stuff in there. And like, yeah, it's so hard to say, go pick this up and watch it. Like, I would say if you like high school romances, you should go watch Kimi ni Todoke. It's probably one of the best high school romances from the woman's perspective that's been made in years. It might also color how good any of the future ones you watch is. At least it has for me. So, yeah. Lord Zorano's first anime is Gurren Lagann. Yeah, that's that would give you a very different picture into how mecha anime works, but it's certainly like it's a great mecha anime for the kind of power build and stuff that it does. I think it's an excellent show. It will give you maybe a skewed perspective on what those kind of shows are like. You watch Little Witch Academia. That's a very relatable kind of. It's comedic, like, it's funny, and it's cute, and it's got a bit of drama to it. It's built around relationships and stuff. You should watch Silver Spoon, actually, if you like FMA Brotherhood, it means you might actually like stuff that's by the same author, and Silver Spoon is not anywhere near the same story as FMA, as Full Metal Alchemist, but it is by the same author, and Silver Spoon is a very good show. It is rooted in her experiences living in Hokkaido, working on a farm. We talked about this earlier. Hyaku Noble Farmer is a series of shorts that she has done that have been adapted into anime, where she talks about what it was like growing up on a farm and working in Hokkaido and the importance of like, you know, food and doing all those things. And yeah, it's it influenced from where she comes from. But yeah, Silver Spoon is very interesting and a kind of a good look at how food is seen in Japan and how like working and stuff and like becoming better at stuff. So becoming more knowledgeable about how, you know, self-improvement and coming of age, because that show is, it's all high school, so it's all coming of age. So yeah. Brownie Points tells me to do the 3-episode try for Dan Dan. I will keep that in mind if I decide to approach Dan Dan. And Text Reverend recommends Bofuri, which has a much longer name, obviously. I like Bofuri as well. It was a lot of fun. And it's an MMO thing. The whole crux of it is this girl's playing an MMO with her friend, and she doesn't know what to do for her build type. So she decides that she doesn't want to get hurt. So she puts all of her points into defense, like in nothing else, but just nothing in defense. And as a result of that, she ends up unlocking a new style of play that people don't expect. And she ends up incredibly OP as a result. But I think it's more accessible and fun because it does not abandon the whole, you're an MMO. Do not forget you're an MMO. So anyway, that's it, folks. Thank you so much for joining me tonight and it is 6 o'clock, so I definitely do have to get going. For joining me tonight on Beej's Anime Roundup, here on this bonus stream of Loading Ready Run Video Entertainment Network. We are glad to be doing work for you, and you show your appreciation in so many ways. We appreciate seeing you guys in the Discord and talking to you guys online on Mastodon and on Blue Sky and whatnot. You can find us there as well. So discord.gg/LRR to talk to us, to do more things. And I mean, a lot of you fund us. Boy, oh boy, do we appreciate that. The little bits of money you give us every month do an awful lot to, you know, give people food and pay rents and mortgages and stuff like that. And that's very important. So you can back us here on Twitch, twitch.tv/loadingreadyrun, subs and bits. I'll call you guys all out in a second. But I also want to thank the people who back us on YouTube. On all the being member of the YouTube channels, we have a bunch of different channels. Pick whichever ones you want to be a part of. The Patreon is a great way to back us too. Patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. And go to the store.loadingreadyrun.com to buy whatever merch. And if you see a piece of merch, you're like, man, I want that, but you're out of stock on like an extra large of this shirt. Well, pick extra large and put your name in the blank that shows up that's like out of stock. Put your email address in there. I don't harvest those. Those just tell me somebody wants that size of shirt. And when I have enough people who are interested, then I will go ahead and I'll go ahead and do reorders and stuff. It's always dependent on interest, right? So if you're interested in buying a thing, put your name in there. You got to kind of wait, obviously, and that sucks to wait for stuff. But we have card sleeves and shirts, and we have playmats and pins and all sorts of things. And go check it out. And Jesus, yeah, I mean, like, you want to just give us money through PayPal? You can do that too. I believe it's paypal.me/loadingreadyrun. I think the account is order@loadingreadyrun or something like that, or I don't know if you had to do it by email. If you look for Loading Ready Run, I think you would find us in there. But you can ask on the Discord and see what people do if they want to support us as well. I mean, people send us stuff in mail time too, but don't worry about that. Like, you know, we like getting gifts and stuff too, but you know, we just like that you want to hang out and you want to chat and build this community. And you guys are a fantastic community. I'm so blown away by just the sheer amount of, you know, coming in and talking, and that everyone's having such a great time, and hearing about people who like make friendships and get married, and, you know, maybe they get divorced. We never hear about that. We should hear about some of those. It's like, I met my partner on your site, or we both came to your thing together and then we got divorced because we realized that would be better. And be like, that'd be a weird story, but you know, that would be a weird crap shot to make. Just being at a con and having two people come up super happy and be like, we got divorced because of you. It's like, I don't know what that means. Please don't tell me don't tell me what that means. But I got to go because I have other things to do tonight, and I bet you do too. And this has been fun. It's been 4 hours. So take care. Talk to you later. Goodbye.